We welcome you back here for coverage of the New Jersey Thunder and Lightning here for the Stars Championship Series. Just finished up our second Lightning delay here today as we are about to kick off the next final event for the minis here today. Isaac Malkett, Travis Petit, and Lucas Palacio will be starting on the top 3 positions. Nathan Hawley, William Roberts will be your top 5 starting lineup. We're also going to bring in, of course, myself, Taylor Burris, along with Alexander Sorrell and Xander Clements over there, who's going to be doing some interviews later on. Let's go ahead and bring Xander in. Xander, Alex, a very difficult day so far with the weather inclements, causing a lot of issues. We saw that happening with the 206 stars as well here today with those big flood or big puddles that these drivers had to overcome. What was your thoughts on those events so far? We'll start with you, Xander.
Yeah, guys, obviously it's been less than ideal here for the Stars Championship Series. No doubt about that. We're inside here with our interview studio in at least a little under undercover. Good bit of rain came on through, at least during the lightning delay. We were able to get the track blowers out. As you saw on that 206 Stars race, the puddles were massive in the backside of the racetrack. Talked to one of the local drivers here, Ryan Raffa with Full Tilt Racing in KA Stars. He was so excited to have a race come up to the region here, a track he's grown up at, a track obviously with his partner and his father's race team is based out of with a Full Tilt Racing camp. Unfortunately, doesn't look like it's the best experience for everybody here just with all the delays, but everyone said great things about the racetrack, and for Ryan, having grown up around here, he knows exactly what it's like in the wet. He said, obviously, the puddles will roll on down the hill, and that far side of the racetrack where we go to, where we saw those 2 big puddles, that's at the end of the hill. However, he said, when you're able to push that water off to the side of the racetrack, when you're able to take the track blowers, move those puddles off the side, it won't come back. So we've had all this time. It is still relatively hot out, just underneath 80 degrees here for ambient temperatures. I think we could be back to dry tires here relatively soon with the track prep that they were able to do during the lightning delay. We're going to find out. We're definitely going to be on wet tires to start this session, where you'll see the lines start on the outside of every single corner, avoid the rubber, run the long way around. However, that puts us only maybe 1 to 2 sessions away before drivers start going back to the normal racing line. And then in that transition period, the racing becomes very interesting, kind of like a dirt track, where you move up to the top side and some guys will throw slide jobs down to the bottom side and see if the inside, short way around the racetrack on each corner, ends up being grippy enough, just enough to slide up in front of the driver going the long way around. So we will have some interesting racing coming very soon. And the first kids out, well, it's the 8 to 12-year-olds for the minis.
It certainly is going to be. Thank you for the update there, Xander. Alex, I got to come to you on this. We're seeing the minis out there. We were talking about this before under the lightning delay. This is going to be a lot of chaos possibly we're going to see here going into this event, as we are seeing the minis work their way towards the back half of the course to get this race started. They're coming through where those puddles were, and they have kind of dried off. There's no major puddle. There's still quite a bit of spray possibly when they get up to speed, but so far a little bit more drier conditions for the kids out there right now.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of rain during the delay, just a lightning delay. And so it seems to be that the rain has kind of gone away. The puddles are going away. So like Xander said, I suspect in about 2 or 3 sessions we should be getting to dry tires. That being said, though, these mini guys are coming to the green flag now.
And with that, their field is working their way through towards the back half of the course to make over towards the start of today's race. Of course, the race will still be final 16 laps, or 16 minutes plus 2 laps around the circuit as they work their way towards the short chute, heading to the final 2 corners to kick off the minis here today. It's McCullough and Travis Petit, who will now lead them to the green flag. Palacio, Holy, Roberts, McCurdy, Stern, Whalen, Lantern, and Charlie Myers round out your top 10 for the starting stop as they work their way out of the final corner. Very slow speeds to get the ball rolling for them. As they work their way heading into the start box, they're giving a quick wave to let people know this is good enough conditions for them to run. Now let's see who is able to get the start that they need as they work their way into the start box. Lights are out, and away we go here. Isaac McCullough will take over the race lead, but it's a battle for second. Palacio and Potato, as one car goes around, multiple go through the grass as they work their way through turn number 1. Already trouble starting for the opening segment.
Yeah, there's a big puddle on the outside of turn 1, and it actually caught a lot of drivers out. And unfortunately, I believe 2 or 3 carts are out of this race. That being said, though, the outside lane didn't really get a great start, and that allowed Palacio to actually take over the second spot, and now he is trying to push Malkowitz away from Travis Petit.
Malcolm will pull away there as we saw one of the carts getting pulled off the track. We'll find out which one that was who was going to not be able to continue here as we see working their way through the track. As they work their way down the back half of the race course, it's going to be McCulloch and, of course, Palacio looking to try to take the win away in the finals here at New Jersey Motorsports Park, heading down to the first of the two 180 switchbacks. They enter into the braking zone. McCulloch goes a little bit wide, but is able to hold on and make it through here as the field works their way up through the middle of the corner. Heading down now, we see a pass for position for third, as it looks like the one, trying to get a number on that one, the 188, possibly a Roberts, trying to get around Petit for that position as they work their way towards the back half of the course through the long curve and try to set things up for the run over to the start finish.
Yeah, like we just saw, William Roberts, I believe, was trying to make an inside move work here. Those are tough to make in the rain. Like you saw, he had the grip initially under braking, but as the corner started, he just ran out of grip and did a slide job attempt on Pettit, but it just didn't work out for him.
Here is your running order for your top five. It's McCulloch, Palacio, Pettit, and Caleb Lanter picking up 5 spots. He moves into 4th spot. William Roberts holds on to the 5th position. Then McCurdy, Myers, Kim, Whalen, your top 8 or top 9. Then it's Chrisman, and then, of course, Polchlepek, and then Holy and Stern. Also, Shane Stern not starting today's action, as Holy was the one who was involved in that incident as well.
Yeah, it's a good start there from Isaac Malquick. But Lucas Palacio just getting into a groove. Obviously, none of these guys have probably been in the rain here as Palacio takes a look down the inside of the first 180 coming up here. Let's see if he actually can make that move stick. They're side by side going to the 180.
As they work their way through, we see them working their way back over towards the 180 switchback. As they walk on, here comes Palacio now. He will take over the race lead, getting around McCulloch for the race lead now as he tries to stretch out the gap between those two, heading down towards the back half of the race course, heading to that wide sweeping right-hander here as they work their way through a couple of little puddles right there. So those major puddles we saw in the 206 is now gone down to a small little bit of water out there on the racetrack as they work their way across the short chute down this long straightaway heading into the final corners. It is Palacio, McCulloch, and Pettit, your top 3.
Yeah, Palacio trying to just continue the dominance that he's shown all weekend long, taking the lead from Malquick. Malquick trying to come back, though. It seems that Palacio got a pretty decent-sized lead right now, that he made a really, really ambitious move down towards the 180s, and it made it stick. Looking a little further back, Travis Pettit trying to hold off Caleb Lanter, who's trying to get around him. Caleb Lanter really feels like he has a lot of pace in this rain. He just can't get around Pettit right now.
Pettit really trying to hold on and struggling here as the Lantern and Roberts closing a little bit of a slide right there. Here comes Robert with a head of steam. He'll look to the inside as they also look to the inside of Pettit. He will lose 2 spots in one corner as he drops back to 5th.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice a bit of it seems to be pretty grippy down on the bottom. As we just saw, Pettit tried to run a wider line. It didn't work from this. There's not a lot of grip out there. So I wonder if the line is already starting to shift towards the drier side of the racetrack. That being said, though, with the rain tires on, as Lanter has a really big slide through the first 180. That being said, with the rain tires on a drying track, these tires are going to start chunking up, and they're going to have to start finding the water on the racetrack to cool them down.
They certainly are going to have to do that here as we watch on the battle for position between Lantern and Roberts as they work their way down towards the back half of the course, coming through some of the puddles. Pettit tries to follow through. There's some of the spray you see here as they work their way down the back half of the course, keeping an eye on our race leader now of none other than Lucas Palacio, who is still holding on to the race lead as they come out of the final corner across the start-finish line. Lucas Palacio still holding strong for that race lead.
Yeah, Palacio extending his advantage over the field right now. I think he's probably lapping a few tenths faster than Malquick right now. But looking a little further back, William Roberts now getting past Caleb Lanter, who's going to try to answer back. Can't make that stick into turn 2. Move William Roberts up into 3rd position. That is Roman McCurdy actually into 3rd position.
Roman McCurdy makes a great drive now as he sits up in the 4th spot now. Travis Pettit falls back a little bit here, as well as along with several other drivers. William Kim, currently one of your biggest movers, along with Caleb Lantern. 6 spots gained since the drop of the green flag currently as the field continues to work on. All 13 drivers are still out on the racetrack even after that lap 1 incident, so we'll see a little bit of battling here as they work their way to the first of the 180 cutbacks, watching this battle. One cart around as Lantern once again in the 105.
Yeah, we saw that last lap. He got really sideways there, and I think he just tried to push it a little too hard this next lap and looped it around. That's going to drop him probably outside the top 10. Looking up field, though, Lucas Palacio, the only one in the 126s, lapping 1.6 seconds faster than anybody else in the field right now.
Yeah, he currently holds a 2-second advantage over Isaac McCulloch currently at this moment as they work their way towards the back half of the course. We'll see how timing and scoring updates when they come across the line here. Once again, approaching the halfway point of today's race here momentarily as they work their way towards the back half of the circuit. And as they do, it's going to be putting the head down and trying to survive these next few minutes here as they work their way through. Great racing action here as we keep an eye on our race leader of Lucas Palacio as he enters towards the back half of the course.
Yeah, Palacio takes a look back. He now realizes the gap that he has over the field. He doesn't need to push that hard anymore. As you can see, he's still doing the rain line, so clearly the rain line is still the fastest way on the racetrack. But I think you're going to start seeing Palacio searching for water in the straights, trying to keep his tires cooler so they don't overheat.
Certainly a smart move for Lucas Palacio, who's been very smooth and consistent all weekend long for the most part. Pretty much podium in just about everything so far this weekend, whether it be winning the fastest lap in the qualifying, winning a heat race, and then, of course, finishing in the podiums for the pre-final race that we had earlier today, and now leading here in the final as we are approaching just to the halfway point. 1 minute away from that here as we keep an eye on the action here at New Jersey Motorsports Park, currently still holding strong and has stretched that lead out to over 2 seconds by the looks of it. As there we see McCulloch, and then, of course, Caleb Lantern, who is going to fall back. So that, I believe, is going to be Roman McCurdy, who will be in that third position here when they come across the line.
Yeah, Roman McCurdy, I think, is actually closing the gap on Isaac Malquist. So clearly, he feels really comfortable in these rain conditions. He's already up 3 positions right now, and he's looking to track down Isaac Malquist.
Here they come across the line. There's Malkowitz, of course. They're holding on in second position. Caleb Lantern and Roman McCurdy now also trying to work their way through to try to catch up to the field as we are waiting for an update on timing and scoring. But we do know it is Palacio who leads there. There is the update as they're trying to get that situated. But Palacio is still your race leader.
Yeah, Palacio still leads right now, setting really quick lap times every lap. Just a qualifying laps from him, really. Looking a little bit further down the field, that is the 155 of Thomas Chrisman, who has had a pretty decent race so far.
Yeah, Crispin's a little bit further back in the field right now. I would say he's around the 7th or 8th position. Max Whalen as well, as he is currently trying to keep pace with him. That's the 155 and the 120 machine. These drivers are toward the back half of the field, but it's still Palacio, McCulloch, Lantern, and Roman McCurdy, your top 4 drivers. Pettit rounds out your top 5 as they work their way towards the back half of the course, heading towards the start-finish line. We'll go and look at our race leaders here. There's a past 4 position. I'm trying to catch that.
Yeah, that is Chrisman.
Crispin and Whalen right there.
Yeah, Whalen, good little battle there. I believe that is for, I think, 6th position. Make that.
We'll see here momentarily as we get updates on timing and scoring. Palacio, of course, is your race leader. Then it's McCulloch, McCurdy, your top 3 currently at this time. 4th position will be Travis Pettit. 5th position as they come across Ryan, William Roberts. 6th is Nathan Holy. William Kim in 7th position. As we wait for the rest of the field, I think that will be able to show that's where everyone is currently is. Thomas Crispin, Max Whalen. So that battle was for P8 currently.
Yeah, Lucas Palacio, about a second a lap faster than the rest of the field. Absolutely flying right now. Isaac Malquist and Roman McCurdy setting identical lap times within a few hundredths there. So they're easily the second and third quickest carts on the racetrack. Travis Pettit losing time every lap to Roman McCurdy, actually falling into the clutches, I believe, of William Roberts, who might be able to catch up to him.
Certainly is the case. We do have one car out of the race. That is Caleb Lantern. We did see him go off earlier today, a few laps ago here, as we keep an eye on this battle for position and leading their way. That is Isaac McCulloch, who has about a 2.7 second advantage over Roman McCurdy in the podium position for third way as they work their way towards the back half of the course through the final few corners.
Yeah, you can see there's still a bit of raindrops on the lens there, but I believe that's just drops, no actual rain there. As we get back on board with Thomas Chrisman and Max Whalen, who are still going at it. These guys are having a great battle here for P8. Chrisman, who's had a pretty solid start so far, up 4 positions right now, trying to defend from Max Whalen.
Currently, your biggest mover of the race goes to William Kim in the 151 machine. He started just outside the top 10 in 13th. He now runs in the 7th position. So it's great drive for him as they come across the line. William Kim said it's a new personal best of lap. Of course, the fastest lap goes to Lucas Palacio with a 1:25.527. As we watch on and keep an eye on the battles for position here as they work their way through.
I will say, last time by, Isaac Malkowitz 6/10 faster than Lucas Palacio last time by. I wonder if either Malkowitz had a bit of a lower tire pressure or if Palacio's tires are starting to go away on this drying track.
As they work around some lap traffic, that is McCulloch in the 175 getting by one of the lap cars. That's Charlie Myers in the 186 machine, who is holding on in 12th position currently at the moment. As we go back to the battle between Whalen and Chrisman as well. These two have been having a very spry battle for that 7th and 8th position.
Yeah, it's been the best battle on the racetrack so far. They keep swapping positions every couple of corners. It's been really fun to watch. Let's see if Whalen's going to take a peek. No. Chrisman goes in really deep. Gets a pretty poor exit, though, as Whalen. Let's see if he can get around him. Chrisman goes wide again, but can't do anything with it. Max Whalen can't.
No, he certainly cannot. And as we keep an eye on the racing going on here, it's under 5 minutes to go, plus an additional 2 laps here around the circuit. As we have one car off, that's the 151 machine of William Kim, your biggest mover. He's now going back at it once again as he tries to look around, make sure no one coming up on him to put the pressure on. And see, as another cart's off on the racetrack. McCurdy. And he is frustrated trying to get the cart pushed back out onto the circuit. He's stuck in the mud right now as he is just desperately trying to put it out there. And now he finally gets it going back on the cart. Hopefully he hasn't stalled it yet. And now we'll keep going. Not happy about that.
Yeah, that's turn 1. I wonder if he got in the puddle there, because like I said, the puddle on the outside of that corner can catch you out if you're not ready, and I believe he probably just braked right on that puddle and it looped him around. Looking a little further back, though, that is, I believe, Nathan Holy taking over that 4th spot on Travis Pettit. Nathan Holy, who's actually been the 2nd and 3rd fast car on the racetrack right now, but he had a poor lap too, and that's why he's been back there. He's back up into P4.
Great pass right there by, of course, Holy to move up into P4, or actually possibly soon to be P3 once timing and scoring is updated here.
McCurdy's out, yeah.
Field now working through the 180 switchbacks here as we watch the 117 and Nathan Holy, who will be your new final step of the podium in 3rd position. Closing in on the 3 minutes left to go in today's race as we watch the battle between Chrisman and Whalen for position. The 155 looks to go around the long way, completes the pass as we watch the 151 of McCurdy, or actually not McCurdy, William Kim holding strong in the 7th position.
Yeah, the 2 guys who spun on the same lap are nose to tail right now. I believe this is a battle for 5th position, actually. Kim goes a little bit wide, gives McCurdy a really good run exiting the corner. McCurdy looking to make up for what seemed to be a mistake entering turn 1.
Here we go as it comes to the field. It's Palacio, McCulloch, Holy, Pettit, and Roberts, your top 5, and it looks like it's going to be William Kim moving up into the 6th position. McCurdy in 7th, Chrisman, Whalen, and then Shane Stern should round out your top 10.
Yeah, Palacio, back-to-back laps. He goes purple. Only 5/10 faster than Malkowitz now. It was about a 2nd a lap faster, so Malkowitz picked up the pace just a little bit, but doesn't seem to have enough for Palacio. 3rd place is now Nathan Holy after a few spins there that last time by, but Nathan Holy's 18 seconds behind your leader.
Coming up on the 2-minute warning, so about 4 laps to go, possibly 3 laps by how they're running the race here as they work their way through. Beautiful pass by the 155 of Crispin to get around for position of the 120 of Whalen here. So as they will continue to do battle as they head down the back straightaway, we're going to go back up to Pettit along with Holy as Pettit gets back up into the podium.
No, I believe that is Pettit and William Roberts, actually. Roberts has been chasing down Travis Pettit those last few laps. Travis Pettit's been struggling, I believe, in the rain. He's been consistently in the 127s when your leaders have been in the 123 and 124 range, as Palacio goes a 123.6, 1.5 seconds faster than anybody else on the field last time by. He is absolutely flying. He's loving these conditions.
He certainly is loving these conditions as he works his way back over into turn number 1 here. As we watch on, there is Pettit, along with, we talked about also William Roberts in the 188 machine. They're going to do battle for that 4th position. McCurdy stays up in the 6th position. He goes and runs his personal best. Drivers now as William Kim drops off the pace a little bit. Thomas Crispin moves up to P7. Whalen 8th, and then William Kim still falling back.
Yeah, William Kim, we haven't seen what happened to him, but he is falling down the order. He hasn't crossed timing and scoring yet. I wonder if he is out of this race, which would be super unfortunate for the driver who at one point in this race was up 6 positions.
Still waiting to see if William Kim will come across the line here, but as we watch and see 30 seconds left to go for your race leaders as they watch on the battle here. Beautiful pass by the 116, or actually not, sorry, 116. That is, of course, that battle that we've been talking about between Crispin and Whalen for position here. As William Kim is out of the race, he has yet to cross the line. Charlie Myers will move up to P11.
Yeah, I wonder if that's actually, I think that is Shane Stern trying to make a move on Max Whalen. So Max Whalen, I believe, must have made a mistake at some point in his lap.
It certainly is going to look like that case here as we have now hit the 0 on the timer. We're about to get the 2 lap to go signal from the flagman here as they work their way towards the back half of the course here, watching this battle for position between Crispin and Whalen, and then Whalen and Stern as well as they work their way towards the back half. 2 laps to go, one part around.
Roberts
in the 188. He'll lose that spot, though, to Pettit, who will move back into P4.
All by himself. I don't think he grabbed the puddle. I think he just went in a little too high, and the rear end came around and caught him off guard. He was probably testing the waters a little bit with the grip. Clearly not grippy enough, as we see Crispin and Max Whalen still racing this entire race. This has been the best race on the track at all times this race.
It certainly has, and these two have been battling back and forth all race long here as the field works their way down towards the back half of the course, heading over to turn number 6. As he looks to the inside, Crispin trying to see if he can get around and hold off Whalen, who really is trying to send it in here as they go up to the top of the hill. Whalen goes wide. Crispin stays to the bottom of the racetrack as we get the white flag. A black flag was shown to somebody here as we should be getting the 2 to go signal for Lucas Palacio as he is now back out in front. He currently has a large lead over the field as he works his way slowly back towards the half of the course, but still setting some blistering lap times. 9.8 seconds separates your top 2.
Yeah, you see Palacio last time by. He's the only one who's actually using that puddle on the outside of turn 1. I wonder if that's his way of trying to find water and keep those tires cool, and that's why he's been putting such fast lap times, as again, 2 seconds faster than Isaac Malkowicz in second place.
Malkowicz trying to see what he can do and just hold on for a podium finish. He has an 11-second cushion over Nathan Holy in the 3rd position. Pettit and Roberts round out your top 5. Lucas Palacio has absolutely mastered the reign here in the mini category as he works his way down to the final time to the 180 switchbacks. There you see also that battle for the 7th spot is Crispin and Whalen. We're going to have to watch them here as they head into turn 1, and it's going to be Crispin holding strong, but here comes Whalen with a big send to the inside.
Yeah, Crispin ran a very wide exiting 1. That gave Whalen a really good exit. It's actually the first time that Whalen's been ahead of Crispin for more than a couple of corners here, I believe. What a move from Whalen, taking advantage of Crispin's mistake.
As they watch their way through here, great battle here as they close on into the end of the racing action here. We're waiting to see where Lucas Palacio is. He's getting in the 1 to go one more time around for him as he works his way across the line, and he goes purple once again, a 122.64. He'll slide it in through turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, Palacio's absolutely sending it, leaving no margin on the table. I actually got a little scared there with how sideways he was, but clearly just super confident in his abilities to drive in the rain.
He certainly is as he slides through turn 2 and 3, approaching over towards turn number 4. He'll hit it in there in 5 as well as he works his way up to the top of turn number 6. He has mastered the reign here today at New Jersey as they work their way down the short chute, heading down the long back straightaway to the double switchback 180s, and now he focuses in down on the back straightaway, enters into the kink, into the braking zone. He does not need to rush it, but he wants to try to set another fast lap by the looks of things as he enters into that braking zone over at the 180s.
Yeah, speaking of fast laps, I mean, Lucas Palacio, every single lap in the last 5 or 6 laps that I can remember, he's just gone purple. Looking a little further in the order, though, William Roberts, after that spin, is only a few tenths behind Travis Pettit in 4th. He's going to try to retake that 4th place.
He certainly is here as a big wiggle right there for Palacio as he hits the puddle, but gathers it back up, works his way through the final corner. Lucas Palacio is on the road to victory here at New Jersey and be able to come out of the final corner. He survives the rain as he comes out of the final corner. Victory for Lucas Palacio in your mini category. Checkered flag is out. We got quite a bit of time to wait for Isaac Malkowicz, who is coming up through the field.
William Roberts takes over that 4th place over Travis Pettit. I was saying he was about 2 seconds faster last time by, and he actually takes over 4th place. Good run from Roberts after that spin.
Beautiful job as Isaac Malkett will come home in 2nd position, waiting on the rest of the field. As there you see Palacio. Nathan Holy comes home in 3rd. We're going to keep an eye on that battle for 4th between Pettit, Roberts, and McCurdy as they continue to battle here for position as they work out of the final few corners. Here they come. It's going to be... Looks like Roberts. McCurdy picks up the 5th spot. Pettit falls back to 6th. Now it's the battle for Whalen, Stern, and Chrisman now, as those are the last drivers on the racetrack as they work their way through the back half of the race course. Here they come. It is going to be Max Whalen and Shane Stern, 7th and 8th. Chrisman comes home in 9th. Those are the only cars that left on the track. Charlie Myers, Jordan Polchekvik, and William Kinn and Caleb Lantern will finish out the field. They will not finish the action as the 155 machine of Chrisman loops it around a little bit, entering into turn 1, but gathers it back up. That was an exciting race.
Yeah, wow. I'm actually really impressed with Roman McCurdy. I mean, after being stuck in the grass for what was probably 15, 20 seconds, he finds himself back in the top 5 with a photo finish with Travis Pettit, putting in his personal best on the last lap. Really, really good run. Exciting race, and looking forward to another rain race coming up with the KA Masters, guys.
It certainly is. If we take a look at that replay here of that opening lap here, now it is time for the KA Masters. We will be right back for that coverage here on Kart Chaser.
Welcome back here to Millville, New Jersey for the Stars Championship Series, Thunder and Lightning. 3rd round of the championship live on Kart Chaser. My name is Xander Clemens. Alongside me, Alexander Sir. We've got Taylor Burris on interview duty here for the next couple sessions as the KA Masters have made their way onto the circuit. John Bonanno has been the man to beat most of this weekend. He and Ryan Castor have had some great battles throughout the heat race and into the pre-final today. Bonanno will be the one to lead them off here on home turf. The Comp Kart team owner looking to set a good example for the rest of his drivers as he brings the field together with Castor on his side. Brian Daniele and Jared Tracy will make up row number 2. Derek Sokol, Anthony Stifler on row 3. Then Chris Stevens and Thomas Gerstner, row 4. Kevin Simonik, and Gordon Cameron will make up the rest of the top 10. And Galo Barros and Patrick Healy round off your field. They'll form their way up. And already, again, we're seeing a drying racetrack with how long the sessions are for the mains. I think we'll see quite a few drivers need to pull the gamble of take the risk on slick tires for KA Stars, but for Masters, they're all on the wets, and we are underway down to turns 1 and 2 with Bonanno and Castor side by side. Castor, having the experience in that 206 Stars rain-soaked session, quickly is confident enough to send it around the outside. He takes the lead. Bonanno into 2nd, side by side back for 4th with Sokol on the inside of, I believe, Jared Tracy, and getting through. Bonanno leads over Daniele. And then then Derek Sokol in 4th. Little bit of shuffling further back as Kastner goes low in the red 171 hairpin. And this is exactly what we talked about here, starting to experiment with the normal racing line again after running high, but he's going to pay the price. Here comes Bonanno to the inside of the end of the back straightaway. Daniele cannot follow, but John Bonanno retakes the lead. And right back to him, Ryan Kastner on the bottom. Great bit of racing here. This is exactly what we were hoping for. The drivers experimenting with the low side, going back to the standard racing line where the dry line's developing. You can see it, especially here in this section, Alex. A good bit of light racetrack. And then still some wet spots there that just cut Kastner out. It's got Bonanno and Daniele through this time.
Wow, I'm starting to notice a really heavy dry line forming, not through the splash pad though, as it's still wet, and I believe, I don't know who that is. That
Ryan Daniele has gone around over outside of the chicane. He was up to second, hit a wet spot, spun around. Then now look at this. Kastner back to the lead. Bonanno back to the outside. Side by side for the top spot into turn number 1. Kastner hangs on. Bonanno hits a slick spot. He slides wide. Derek Sokol takes over second. Here comes Jared Tracy for third.
Wow, we're just seeing, this is the common feature of a drying racetrack. There's dry parts, and so you think you build this confidence, and then you instantly lose it the second you hit a slick spot, just like Bonanno there, who's going to retake second almost immediately there. Let's see if Kastner can experiment a little more with these lines, because Bonanno right now seems a little more comfortable with the rain.
And this is where, again, being that driver in second or third is much more beneficial than being the driver in the lead. Kastner's going in blind. He might, again, like you said, Alex, build up confidence, think that he's got the opportunity to go back to the normal line, the normal braking points are closer to it, and then as soon as he goes over the limit, he's going to slide wide. Whereas the drivers behind him, they can kind of do it in a controlled manner. They only need to go to his limit or close to it as Bonanno sticks the nose down low and gets through to the lead.
Yeah, good move from Bonanno. Like you said, he's in second, so he can see where Kastner loses grip and not do what he did. And clearly, there was not enough grip on the inside of that corner. Kastner gets a good exit, though, has a little bit more grip, but Bonanno with a good run off, able to retain the lead. This is going to be a great race to the finish here.
What a good battle we've got here for these guys, but we're also getting set for one of the headline divisions here for the Stars Championship Series in KA Stars. Aiden Fox is over here with our very own Taylor Burris. It's been an overall pretty decent weekend for the Fox & Son karting driver. Let's see what he's got. Taylor?
Here with Aiden Fox. Aiden, you came home fourth in the pre-finals today. Looking through the grid for the next class, a lot of people are going mixed bag with wet tires and slick tires. You chose to do the slick tires. What's the strategy call for that?
Yeah, it's tough right now. Track's kind of in a weird spot. Some corners are dry, some corners are still wet. I know John Bonanno's out there. He's on slicks right now. I think he's doing pretty good, so we're kind of using him. We're watching him, seeing what he's doing. But I think unless it doesn't start raining now, I think the call is slicks for sure.
And to walk us through then running on this track with slick tires on a mixed circuit with temperatures of the track, with of course being wet at some sections as well as dry, how can you try to compensate to make sure you try to come out with a strong finish here for the finals?
Yeah, I think the key is just feeling out the track the first couple laps and trying to find that dry line. And, I know most of us up front are probably going to choose slicks instead if it doesn't start raining again. So we'll see how it goes, and it's going to come down to who can drive the best.
All right, well, good luck to you today in the finals. That is Aiden Fox. Back over to you, Xander.
Thank you, Taylor. And that is interesting to hear that John Bonanno is on slick, something we didn't pick up on earlier with Bonanno on slick tires as this battle goes on back behind Jared Tracy versus Derek Sokol. That puts him at an advantage for about probably 80% of the racetrack. Really, the only significantly wet part is that straight, flat-out chicane down at the bottom side of the final sector as we go side by side for fourth. That is Chris Stevens around the outside on Derek Sokol. So maybe a few more on slick tires. Bonanno obviously on slicks, and I'd imagine Ryan Kastner on the reins. Last time by, 2.5 difference already, Alex. So again, like we heard from Aiden, a lot of drivers already looking to go to the slick tires, but man, if you get a field of 36 KA Stars on slick tires, that first lap in that wet section at the bottom of the hill will be sketchy.
Oh, it is for sure. I was actually surprised to hear that Bonanno's on slicks. It seems to make sense, like you said. The first 80% of the lap seems to be pretty dry. You can see a dry line forming right here, but it's when you get to the exit of this corner and down towards that splash pad corner, it's where it's still going to be really sketchy. Like you said, 36 KA Stars next class. It's going to be really sketchy to see them go through there.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts to see that here as we look at Brian Daniele's comeback drive. There he goes on Gordon Cameron. So he'll get by, get one more spot, pick back up, move Daniele. He was purple last time by. So I have to imagine Brian Daniele also on the slick tires as we got another spinner. That is going to be Kevin Semenelik. And he's gone around in the Harden Motorsports Group entry. So the HMG 212 of Kevin Semenelik is around. He'll rejoin behind Gordon Cameron and behind Thomas Gerstner, but move Brian Daniele up the order just a little ways.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I have a feeling Daniele is on slicks, and that would answer the question of why he spun exiting the splash pad corner. Just didn't have the grip that the rain tire guys had, but already you could see the rain tire guys struggling a lot, trying to cool their tires down, really. They're going to chunk up so poorly in this first half of the track.
And again, this is a long main event for John Bonanno to survive without a spin. That is going to give him just about an unsurmountable advantage at a 1:17.9 pace last time by. Nobody's even close to the same second bracket he's in beyond Brian Daniele the lap prior. Ryan Kastner pushing with everything he's got, a 1:20.260. So for Ryan Kastner and company on the wet tires, big time disadvantages for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, John Bonanno has made the correct call on slick tires. Obviously, I don't have the radar in front of me, so for all we know, it could rain in the next few laps, and then John Bonanno is in a really bad spot. So we'll have to wait and see how the weather holds up. Right now, it is holding up, and John Bonanno, again, going purple with a 1:17.903, 3 seconds faster than Ryan Kastner, his closest competitor.
Jared Tracy also picking up the pace a little bit. He sets his personal best time at a 1:20.32. Locks into third. Daniele going purple at a 1:17.60. He's 16 seconds back from John Bonanno, but I think no question Brian Daniele could get himself up and onto the box at the second or third at that rate. There's only 10 seconds away at 3 seconds faster per lap. Again, he'd get there in just a handful of time. So here is what we're looking at, the fight for fourth or third on the racetrack between Jared Tracy and Chris Stevens. They're only 4 to 5 seconds up the road from Brian Daniele, who is continuing to close in. So Daniele getting a little bit closer each time around as we'll slowly get ready to pick the rest of the field up when they come to the back section of the circuit. Bonanno, the leader by 7 seconds. There goes Gordon Cameron on by. There goes Thomas Gerstner as well, down in 7th and 8th. Kevin Semenelik down in the 9th position. Last time by 33 seconds back from the lead. And there goes the HMG 212 driver. So he's on through, and here comes your race leader, John Bonanno. Healthy margin over the pack as he rolls through the kink. We go back to second. Ryan Kastner nearly 8 seconds away from the race leader. And then, of course, Jared Tracy and Chris Stevens, and we'll be ready for Brian Daniele to get to Derek Sokol. I think he'll arrive on the scene sooner rather than later. There goes Tracy. There goes Stevens on into turn number 1. And I think John Bonanno, yes, indeed, he gets by Derek Sokol. So move him up into the top 5 as we continue to keep a tab on all that's going on here on the racetrack. Looks like we've got another bit of information here. Taylor Burris down with us. Taylor, what do you have for us?
Was walking through the grid here for the next class for the KA Stars, and of course it is going to be pretty much all slick tires for the entire field. Was walking through, saw a couple of cars with wet weather tires thinking that it was going to start raining again or more damp conditions, but as soon as they started to see some of the front runners coming down on the pit road, immediately switching out to slick tires. So this is now going to be looking like, unless it rains again between now and the start of the next race, a slick tire track for a lot of these competitors for the next class.
Thanks for the update, Taylor. We'll continue to get set for more action here with slick tires as we see the Brian Daniele machine has rolled up to Chris Stevens and Jared Tracy. Quickly and easily works his way on by there for fourth. Here he comes working on the final podium spot. Tracy able to navigate the puddles that are slowly getting a little bit smaller. That's the one place Daniele has to be careful. Can't drive it off the racetrack, but he was, again, purple the lap prior and the lap prior to that as he tries to close back up. That one small sector is the last big wet spot on the circuit. But with everybody on slicks, that will be interesting to watch with the KA Stars coming up here shortly.
Yeah, even with that pass, he still goes purple with a 16.883. Daniele's going to have to be a little frustrated with himself with that mistake on lap 1 because I think he's had the pace to actually challenge John Bonanno for this race win.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate here for Brian Daniele in the BJR camp aboard the Tony kart as he passes Jared Tracy for third. Now he'll set his targets onto Ryan Kastner up there for second. Kastner in the 2:15 Maranello, 3 seconds up the road. He'll get there within about a lap or so. You can see him already coming into view as the race leader John Bonanno has everything all locked up. Here comes Daniele into the back section, and look at all the time he eats up on Kastner. My goodness, Brian Daniele is moving here with 5.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, you can see Caster just struggling for any sort of grip. Daniele, he knows he can just be patient there, but patience not in his vocabulary now. Daniele already up into second position. Now, he's going to have his sights set on John Bonanno, who's a 12.8 seconds ahead of Daniele. Bonanno's job right now is just don't make a mistake. I mean, obviously, he can just cruise through the last part of the track where it's a little bit wet.
Again, Brian Daniele, he needs 3 to 4 seconds a lap out of John Bonanno that he will simply not get. John Bonanno across the line, 16 seconds back to P2 and P3. You can see Ryan Kastner trying to find a little bit more. He's got to be careful not to throw away a podium. I know he's a bit frustrated, I'm sure, to have made the wrong tire call to go to the wets when he was hoping to be on the slicks. But for Ryan Kastner, he's got to worry about Jared Tracy and Chris Stevens. They've knocked their pace down a little bit. Lap time by, they were about 0.8 of a second better. So in the case of Ryan Kastner in that final podium spot, that is not all said and done yet either. Brian Daniele with a healthy lead. Ryan Kastner, Jared Tracy, Derek Sokol, all three of those drivers could definitely change positions, especially in the form of Tracy and Stevens catching up to Kastner. Sokol seems relatively safe ahead of Thomas Gerstner and Gordon Cameron, and Kevin Simonelik has not really made up too much ground either. So 4 minutes to go, more or less. Brian Daniele just trying to get himself some cushion room for this puddle here. Now, this is, again, interesting to watch how much less the water is spraying off the back of that go-kart. There's no question he's sideways as he goes over the outside runoff in that far chicane section. But comparing that to early in the race, the first couple laps, especially that lap when he spun with that puddle, it is much less here. So it could be just a damp spot. And again, could be almost overly inviting for those KA stars when they get down there, not seeing a heavy body of water.
Yeah, exactly. Daniele, once again, 7/10 faster than John Bonanno. He goes purple last time by. Like you said with Kastner, though, Kastner has to be careful. He's obviously frustrated, but frustration won't make him any more time on the racetrack, because right now he's 6/10 slower and 8/10 slower than the guys behind him. So he needs to put his head down. There's nothing he can do about the tire choice he made, and just try to get that last podium position.
Again, what you were mentioning as well about not burning off the tires, that is huge. Tire degradation in a drying racetrack with wet tires on the go-kart is massive. The lower you're able to set your tire pressure at the beginning, because you'll pump rain tires up in heavy wet conditions to double or triple what you may be running in on your race slick tires. At the same time, if Brian Kastner went a little bit closer to that end of the spectrum versus the standard tire pressure that everybody else was running all weekend, that maybe on the go-karts are Jared Tracy and Chris Stevens, his tire deg could be magnified. And that would explain the driver that was so quick early to now be half a second slower than these two here, who are also coming back together. Chris Stevens, a little bit quicker that time than Jared Tracy, about 0.2 of a second. 2.5 minutes plus 2 laps here left in the main event for KA Masters as we're gearing up for KA Stars. Taylor Burris, what do you got for us?
Just got done talking to second place finisher in the pre-finals, Chase Jane. Chase is very confident now that we're going to be in dry conditions completely throughout the rest of the day, especially in his race here. He's very confident about coming out on top with his victory, going against Oliver for the win here. But we'll have to wait and see, as he has to stay out of the puddles in order to survive and take home the checkered flag.
No doubt about that, Taylor Burris. Again, Chase Jones, he's had a good weekend. Thing to keep in mind, we saw him and Oliver Hodgson get into it a little bit there in their pre-final, Alex. And, they like to say racers, oh, look at that. Big-time dive bomb from Chris Stevens. A little bit overshot for Jared Tracy. He's seeing that they're gaining on Kastner. He also sees that he's gaining on Tracy. Tried it. Not enough to get it done. Still has about 3.5 to 4 laps to go as Bonanno works his way around the backside. But for Bonanno's teammate, Oliver Hodgson, he and Chase Jones traded a little bit of pain in that pre-final. Is any love lost there? I have to imagine roles reversed. Chase Jones will not be giving him any extra space today.
Yeah, I don't think there's any love lost, but obviously Hodgson showing he was not afraid to get elbows out when he has to. Obviously, like he said in his interview a few hours ago, Hodgson, being a Brit, he loves the rain. So obviously a little bit of a damp half of the racetrack won't bother him at all. He's going to love the conditions. So let's see if Chase will be able to challenge him.
If anything, he might give everyone else, like I said, a little bit more confidence, seeing him be the first one through if he gets a good start through that puddle in the back sector. Here's this battle for the final 2 podium spots. Final podium spot, I should say. Ryan Kastner, about a second up the road to Jared Tracy and Chris Stevens. He just ripped out his personal best of the session, half a second better. Open that gap back up. Back to Tracy, back to Stevens to hang on to the hardware here for Kastner. It would be a good day, double podium day for Ryan Kastner with the win already in 206 stars. Was hoping to get something similar after leading some laps in the early stages of KA Masters, but I think he'll happily walk away at least once the nerves come back down with a third place result when you compare that to what it could have been with the likes of Kevin Simonellic or some of the other drivers having issues early on. As for John Bonanno, again, he's not in the point standings. Brian Daniele is, so a little bit of points potentially lost for Kastner, but not maximum points as John Bonanno across the line, 3 laps to go, is going to take those 200 points completely out of championship contention.
Yeah, another point to make is there's still that puddle on the outside of turn 1, which is going to make the start of the coming KA Stars race really interesting. I mean, we saw it affect, I think, the Mini Stars race, and it affected this start a bit too. So with 36 guys entering turn 1 with puddles on the outside of the corner, that outside lane is going to be really sketchy at the start.
No doubt. Here goes Bonanno down the red 171 hairpin towards the back straightaway. We are now well within the well after the time limit, so the 2 to go signal will come next time by. We can see Jared Tracy and Chris Stevens. They're 30 seconds back from John Bonanno, 15 seconds back from Brian Daniele. It is just absolutely massive, the gaps that the leaders have pulled over here, and it is now the sun starting to poke its head out just a little bit. That's going to help dry this puddle up. But you can see how slow John Bonanno is to that back section right now. It's still going to be very slippery. Let's watch Brian Daniele come through. Here he comes to the final couple corners. And there goes Bonanno all the way to the front straightaway, back to the dry part of the racetrack as he comes to see the 2 to go signal. But for Brian Daniele going through that sector, obviously still pretty slick. We're seeing puddles maybe off on the outside edge, so too wide through there, might hit the water, might be able to mostly miss it if you're going on a single lane through there on the opening lap for KA Stars.
Yeah, still Bonanno cruising through that last part of the racetrack. I mean, he knows he's got a huge lead to Brian Daniele, so there's no need to push that part of the racetrack where he knows he can actually lose it all. Looking a little further down, though, I think Jared Tracy has actually closed the gap a little bit to Ryan Kastner. But Ryan Kastner able to extend it through the puddle, still feeling a little bit confident through that last part of the racetrack. Last time by, Kastner and Tracy, they're starting to actually lower their lap times. They're in the 1:18s now, but still identical lap times. So Tracy didn't gain much last time by.
This goes back to these guys just trying to save a little bit for the last couple laps or discovering something new when it comes to their line of where they can find a little bit more pace. Like you said, they're lowering their lap times. They're nearly a second quicker than where they were 2 to 3 laps ago. So that's a major improvement for all of them as they head around the red 171 corner here with the a lap and a half to go for this battle that's slowly spaced back out. Was a potential battle, has not become it besides Chris Stevens' dive bomb attempt for the 4th position as he remains in 5th, a second away. Bonanno lowers the pace down to a 1:15, so crawling, tiptoeing in certain areas, like you said, missing the puddle on the outside or inside of 1, and we got problems as well. This is for Chris Stevens running 5th, slowly moving there in the 237. Just inching his way around, not sure what the issue is, but he is barely making his way around the outside, and he's going to pull off. Chris Stevens from a top 5 result with a mechanical failure here with a lap and a half to go.
Yeah, I wonder if any water got in the motor. I mean, it doesn't seem to be, it hasn't been raining, but I wonder if any, just going through those puddles for 10 or 11 straight laps, might have just gotten a bit of water in the motor. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we could talk to him after the race and see what happened to Chris Stevens, who was actually on a really good run, up 2 spots into 5th at one point and actually catching Tracy.
Yeah, he was making up a ton of ground. Here comes Bonanno, though. Final lap underway. John Bonanno in his family-owned comp card outfit one more time through that slippery section, and he'll work his way towards the final couple corners. This long straightaway, he's made it around this racetrack so many times. He's won national championship races here. Add the Stars Championship Series to that historic list. John Bonanno wins in KA Masters in New Jersey.
Yeah, good run for John Bonanno. Just kept it clean, kept it consistent, didn't make a single mistake, which unfortunately Brian Daniele did, and that ultimately cost him the chance at a win. But a good comeback drive from Daniele, who was obviously on the slick tires, made it work, and he finishes 2nd place. Ryan Kastner should be coming by in about 30 seconds to hopefully at least hold on to that final podium position.
Yeah, so there they go. Double checkers in the air here for everyone as the field comes on by. And that will cap off the KA Masters field. So sun is shining here in New Jersey as there goes Ryan Castor along for third, Jared Tracy fourth, Derek Sokol will inherit the fifth position. But John Bonanno, the man here in KA Masters. We're going to come back with one of the two headline divisions. KA Stars is next up here live from Millville.
Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex ROK engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jekko Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com. Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParalleLUSA.com. If you're looking for top-grade equipment, look no further than Rev Performance Materials, engine mounts, sprockets, and arcade chains. Available online now at RevPerformanceMaterials.com and through a dealer near you. The highest quality material, built to the highest quality standards. Rev Performance Materials.
Are you ready to meet your favorite new karting product? Meet the tunable karting axle from Taika Technologies. Our globally patented tuning inserts make it easy for users to adjust stiffness in just minutes, making it the perfect tool for drivers new to the sport or trying to make the most out of their setup. The best of the best choose Taika, so get over to TaikaTech.com and grab yours today.
Entry list wide, 36 drivers ready to go, and they're getting their first taste of the far sector of the racetrack here as Oliver Hodgson, Chase Jones, and company begin to form the field up. Justin White and Aiden Fox will make up row number 2. Then it'll be Lucas Zabo and Connor Ferris, the championship points leader, on the outside of row number 3. Alfonso Lombardo and Ryan Raffa will make up row 4. Hunter Perry, Matthew Dunkovich, the end of the top 10. Gavin Bailiff had a good drive in the pre-final. He was able to make up some spots. He rolls off 11th. Ethan O-Ring in 12th. Anthony DeCesaro 13th. Nikita Paneras 14th. Brooke Nachtman in 15th. Harper Doss, George Fagali, Alex Murray, Aiden Hatcher, and Chris Farino, your top 20. Couple big names coming from the tail end of the field. Jake Walker, Byron Daly, Logan Mueller, Finnegan Bailiff, all with issues in the pre-final. They've got work to do here in the main. So here comes the field around the final bend, and we are set to go. Oliver Hodgson was able to go at it and come out on top against Chase Jones in the pre-final. Jones won the opening heat race, so they are one apiece, ready for the main event to decide it all. Here they go down to turn number 1, and we are underway for the Stars Championship Series KA Stars class. Hodgson gets down low. He gets clear. Who has to go through the water at the exit of 2? So far, the field is clean and green up the hill to 3.
Great run up there. A little bit of sideways goes Chase Jane as he tries to hold on for second place. He's under his way through and working on through as they made through 3, 4. A couple of cars hit the puddles right down there over at turn number 3 as they make the climb up to turn number 6.
Out of 6 here, Oliver Hodgson, Chase Jones, your leaders. Down the back straightaway, single file for most of the pack, about side by side midway through. Gavin Bailiff trying to fight one as the top 3 have a little bit of separation. Justin White all over Jones, and we're going to get to that sketchy part of the racetrack we saw in the previous race with that big puddle. All the drivers got to go through it on the outlap. Now they're going to go through it at full song. Out of the left-handed hairpin and that long run around. Oliver Hodgson, first one through the wall. What's it going to look like when they get down to the water? Just missed the shot just a little bit as they go side by side behind him. Here comes the field tiptoeing through. And Justin White, I think, lost a little bit of time. So did Aiden Fox. Couple drivers around towards the back of the field.
Tough break for a couple of drivers who are trying to get themselves turned right back around as they work across the line. It's going to be Hodgson, Jones, White, Sasbo, who moves up to P4, and Aiden Fox dropping back to the 5th position as they work back through turn number 1 and 2. Now we see a little bit of a battle right here, mid-pack of this group of 5 as they go working their way through. How about some 3 wide almost going there into turn 4?
Connor Ferris trying to fend off Ryan Raffa and the Full Tilt Racing Tony Kart. Now they are actually 3 wide as Hunter Perry slides it through. Raffa gets down low with him, puts the bumper to him, gets low on the inside. Perry hangs on. Look at Gavin Bailiff around the outside. He'll get a bunch of them into the top 10 for Bailiff. Ferris trying to go on him now, and while they all fight here for the lead, we'll continue to watch. Chase Jones out in second, trailing Oliver Hodgson. Hodgson been able to navigate the water pretty well. Here they come through, second time on by. They've already got 1 lap through, and that was where Hodgson pulled nearly 4/10 on Jones and company. Look at this big gaggle back behind them. Connor Ferris and everybody fighting all the way back to the field. Where's our leaders? We'll pick them up. Here's the midfield coming on through. Ferris trying to hang on as he's been shuffled way down the order, all the way behind Harper Doss. Up front, side by side for second as well. As here comes Justin White looking on Chase Jones, couldn't get by all the way down to turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, we'll get set to go to our winner from KA Masters. John Bonanno has caught up here with Alexander Searle.
Yeah, thank you, Xander. I'm here with John Bonanno, your KA Masters feature race winner. John, you and Brian Daniele were the only ones to choose the slick tires. You know, what made you make the right call?
We're the only 2 that live in New Jersey, so I've seen this before. We had a club race about 2 months ago. Track was set up pretty similarly. It was starting to dry. Another kid, he threw on slicks. He was the only one, and he just drove 4 seconds, 6 seconds faster than everybody. So made the call, got it in just under the gun, fired the engine, and went out.
Yeah, I know. The track started to dry up towards the end of that race, but talk to me. How sketchy were those first few laps? I saw you were slipping and sliding. You had a good battle with Kastner for the first few laps until his tires started to go away.
Yeah, there were a couple of corners out there where there was still a lot of water. My strategy was I was so much quicker than Kastner in a straight line that I would just get in front of him, hold him up through the puddles, and then that allowed me to stretch it out. He would get by me a little bit here and there, but once it started drying up, there was no chance.
Yeah, one more thing. I mean, who would you like to thank for this race win?
So, listen, man, this is a big race for me. I got the guys from CompCard out running with me. Oliver's on track right now, running in senior. John Giacomelli, Justin Stefani came out to support the race, so I got to thank all those guys. Got to thank my family and friends, everybody watching back home. I got the Honeywell on the go-kart this weekend. It's a company I work for, so I got some friends there that are going to be tuning in. So, yeah, just thankful to be out here and glad we got the race in.
Awesome. John Bonanno, everybody, your race winner in the KA Masters class. Back to you, Xander.
Thank you, Alex. John Bonanno, like he said, that's just a little bit of the local advantage we've talked about, and knowing what the track will do, knowing where the water's going to puddle up, that's a huge benefit here as we're watching some of the edge of the top 10 working its way down the back straightaway. Aiden Fox leading this group here with Lucas Zabo in tow. This is right now from 4th on back. Justin White is safely in 3rd, trailing Chase Jones, but they're losing about a 10th to 2 laps a lap. 2/10 per lap to Oliver Hodgson. As John Bonanno mentioned, his company outfit, the Comp Car Group, have their leading man and Oliver Hodgson leading the way right now. And a pre-file win this morning in the dry, and looking like a really good result in the works here in the damp and slowly drying conditions as Fox pulls away from Zabo, Perry, and Rafa closing in on the fight for the top 5, headed down to turns 1 and 2.
They are really trying to step it in. And how about this? We're now breaking into the 110s now for your field, especially for your top 2. As Hodgson just set the fastest lap of the race, but he's still about 1.4 seconds ahead of Chase Jones, who's still holding strong in 2nd. Sosbo, of course, now in that 3rd spot. Aiden Fox really trying to hold off Lombardo, who is really putting that pressure on as they come up through the middle of turns 4 and 5. Now climbing up the hill to turn 6. And here you see that Tony Kart working his way through, trying to see if he can catch up to Aiden Fox.
Yeah, Lucas Zabo well up the road, about 2.5 seconds. Then Fox, then Alfonso Lombardo. So my mistake there. He is in 5th. And then here is your leader, Oliver Hodgson, coming on through the back hairpins, 1.5 seconds up the road for MPG Motorsports. Chase Jones, 2 veterans. No surprise to see them this far up as Justin White has had an issue. Not sure what was the issue for White or if he went around. It happened just off camera for 3rd, but Justin White came across the line that time by back in 11th. So way back for Justin White in the 924.
Tough break for Justin White, who was having such a decent run at one point, but now he's going to be falling off the pace there as they watch across the line. There goes some of your top runners right working through turns 1 and 2. That is, of course, I believe that's Chase, who's trying to work his way up through, trying to keep up with Oliver Hodgson, but still not having the pace he needs. He's about 2/10 off the pace compared to the last time by, but still has to make up quite a bit of time as we go back a little bit further to the battle for P3 now, as Sosbo and Fox are really in a tight battle for that final step of the podium.
Yeah, Lucas Zabo has given up nearly a 2-second cushion. Aiden Fox and company, they reeled him in 2 seconds exactly last time by a 1:11.3 to a 1:13.3 for Zabo, up 2 spots. He's got 5 hungry carts right behind him here, so a big bobble for a few drivers coming through some of the wet sections of the circuit has kind of rubber banded the field a little bit. It's put Justin White down the order. He's rebounded up to 9th. And here, look at this, Aiden Fox down the inside and clear on Lucas Zabo. Alfonso Lombardo is going to try and get clear on the outside. He does. Ryan Rafa trying to defend as Hunter Perry works on him. And here comes Gavin Bailiff into the mix there in 8th.
Bailiff really trying to get that pressure. He'll look to the inside, thaws back a little bit. Now he'll send it on in through the inside of the circuit as they work their way down the back half of the course. Aiden Fox now will move up through the field here as they come through that final corner across the line. And as they come across, it is still going to be Aiden Fox, now your new mover up into the 3rd position. Great drive by him, Lombardo, and then Sosbo rounds out your top 5. But Sosbo really struggling right now during this run after losing a ton of time. He gets a little squirrely as they enter into turn 3.
Yeah, Lucas Zabo defending harshly there from Ryan Rafa for the 5th position. Aiden Fox still leads Alfonso Lombardo. Let's see if there's any moves up the hill. Rafa looking low, not close enough to get the job done on Lucas Zabo, so he stays back in 6th. We saw Gavin Bailiff, like you said, a crossover move on Hunter Perry. Got around him, and just coming into view to maybe get himself back onto the podium could be Justin White. He's matching the pace of Chase Jones right now, catching up to this grouping, and while it wouldn't be the same as fighting all the way up the road, it would be a great recovery to get himself back to where he was before the spin if he could get back up to 3rd. Again, he's latching on this pack here. 3rd, back to 8th, nearly back to 9th with Justin White, and then Connor Ferris rounding your top 10 a couple seconds further away as we see Lucas Zabo still struggling. Ryan Rafa all over the rear bumper as they come onto the front straightaway. Here they come to the dogleg. Aiden Fox, Alfonso Lombardo, and a potential fight coming for 5th. Zabo knows it. There's pressure into turn number 2.
Everyone keeps it clean and green through turn number 1, but except a little further back. Bailiff really now trying to work his way and hold off Hunter Perry, who will look to the inside as they do battle, move him up a spot as they work through turn 4.
Bailiff able to get by Ryan Raffa in that full tilt racing Tony kart. Up the hill for turn number 6 here. Raffa defends from Hunter Perry. That'll open the door for Justin White to get by. Move Justin White up another spot, and the privateer Tony kart driver gets back up to 8th as they dig down the back straightaway. Aiden Fox, Alfonso Lombardo, Lucas Zabo. Looked like Fox might have been able to get away earlier. He has not. He continues to lead this grouping as Justin White went purple last time by.
Justin White really now utilizing that draft as the track is completely dried out there for a lot of your competitors in the racing groove as they work their way through and continue to try to work on to the back half of the course. Great racing amongst your competitors inside the top 10. It's a little bit wide right there for Aiden Fox, but he's able to pull away from Lombardo in that Tony kart.
Yeah, a little bit wide there here. Ryan Raffa still has that grouping right on his tail. And through the dog leg onto the front straightaway. Raffa pushing on Lucas Zabo back to Alfonso Lombardo into turn number 2. This time, a little better exit for Raffa. Can he get the run? He does not. Justin White is there. Bumper, looking. Everybody's looking low, and Fox defends. Opens the door for the rookies to go at it. Lombardo versus Zabo. No one changes hands in position, and they'll stay single file up the hill.
Single file up the top of the hill in turn number 6. Everyone trying to just compress a little bit and then expand as they work their way down the back straightaway, heading over towards the kink. A little bit of a move out to there. Zazbo tries to go to the outside as they come to the kink. Thinks better of it. Can't quite make the pass work as they head back into the switchback 180. And Zazbo's trying to find that opening. Can't make it work this time around.
Yeah, Lucas Zabo still can't get through on Alfonso Lombardo. Ryan Raffa right there on the tail. Justin White pushing Raffa all the way through. Here's your leaders, what the gap looks like now. Oliver Hodgson and Chase Jones, they are more than 10 seconds away from this grouping here as they've gone by. Here comes that midfield pack, headed now down towards the dog leg onto the front stretch, and they're side by side again. This time Lombardo way around the high side, still on the high side, hangs it tough. Raffa's in the grass as well as Justin White gets through. Zabo drops back and around the outside for Alfonso Lombardo. Finally gets by the harshly defending Aiden Fox. Here comes Justin White to the bumper. He goes wide, trying to find a way around the Fox and Son karting OTK, or Kart Republic, who has been holding this group up for a couple of laps now. Alfonso Lombardo trying to run away before Justin White gets through. Here he comes, though. Inside, turn 6. Justin White is back to 5th.
6 minutes left to go on the clock, plus an additional 2 laps here for the KA Stars finale as they work their way through. How about Lombardo holding that inside lane, trying to prevent anyone from making a move to that inside as he has a little bit of breathing room as they head to the first of the 180 switchbacks. Here right behind, Rafa White trying to really battle it out here as we see White holding off Rafa as they work back towards the half of the course and make through those final few corners.
So Justin White running in that 4th position. Alfonso Lombardo in 3rd. Aiden Fox still 5th here. Rafa crossover, not enough grip there to be able to pull it off. As Aiden Fox has been doing a great job making that kart as wide as possible, hanging on to that 5th position now. Here comes Justin White, looking for the final podium spot from Alfonso Lombardo, get himself back up to the front. A weekend of ups and downs here for Justin White and the 924 camp into turn 3. Everybody low again to block. No change in position through the pack. Justin White 4th, Alfonso Lombardo 3rd, Aiden Fox rounding off the top 5 as they come up the hill.
Great drive from all of our competitors here as they continue to do battle and work up to the top of the hill. Lombardo trying to keep Austin White behind him, and as well as Aiden Fox as they are putting the pressure on him. Down over towards the kink. There you see White to the inside. He will complete the pass into the podium spot. He will go.
Good stuff for Justin White to get through, so he makes up another spot, puts himself back to where he was before the bobble that sent him outside the top 10 while he was trailing Chase Jones early on. You're not missing too much at the lead right now. Oliver Hodgson has pulled the gap up to more than 3 seconds over MPG Motorsports Willpower Kart driver Chase Jones. Alfonso Lombardo a little bit sideways through that chicane also as Justin White pulls out to 3 car lengths, maybe 4 away. And the battle will resume here for 4th as it's a big run coming from Aiden Fox and Ryan Raffa to the rear bumper of Alfonso Lombardo, who goes to the outside on White into turn number 1. Hits the water, goes around, and multiple drivers are off. Hunter Perry off. One more way wide over in turn number 2. That was Lucas Zabo. And so both of the rookies, along with Hunter Perry, going for a ride in the spin cycle, and that's also nearly shaken up the front of this pack that was battling for third because Justin White, Aiden Fox, Ryan Raffa, and now Gavin Bailiff inherits the 6th position as this group continues to fight further down the order.
You got to watch out for those pedals. He tried to thin it out, but of course with those slick tires on, we talked to Chase Jones at the beginning of this race, you do not want to get in those pedals with those slick tires, and that's what's going to cost you.
So into the right and left hairpins here. 3 minutes to go. Let's take a look at that replay once again here. It looks like we got it queued up. So coming across the line, down to turns 1 and 2. Lombardo just hits the water, bounces off the left side pod there of Justin White, and ultimately goes around. So again, just like you said, the slick tires, obviously no way for the water to go through the grooves and still have tire patch contact with the pavement. So that was full hydroplaning for him. He slid into White, and then from there it bounced him and ricocheted him off to the other side. Meanwhile, Ryan Raffa nearly does the same. He hangs on to it, but he's going to go wide as well as he tries on the outside of Aiden Fox. Gives up the 5th position to Gavin Bailiff.
Gavin Bailiff now picked up 6 spots here for position after starting outside of the top 10. A great run for him as he continues to try and hunt down Aiden Fox for that position in the 4th spot. As meanwhile, your top 3 have no changes whatsoever as they come out of turn number 6. There you see them working their way through the 964 of Bailiff, really now trying to close the gap on him as well as Aiden Fox as they head through the kink.
So through the chicane, Aiden Fox, Gavin Bailiff, still about a car length apart, a car length back from Bailiff to Ryan Raffa. 4th, 5th, and 6th on your screen as Justin White has pulled a second away from the grouping here with 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Raffa closing onto the bumper of Gavin Bailiff now to maybe retake that spot, trying through the chicane, can't do it, and Aiden Fox gets a little bit more spacing, about half a second back to the front bumper of Gavin Bailiff as they come through the dogleg here towards the front straightaway. And just coming into view there as well, Connor Ferris, been kind of silent all race long, avoided the carnage, hasn't had great pace, but the Team Ferris Racing Kart Republic is up to 7th ahead of Alfonso Lombardo with about a 4-second cushion to Hunter Perry and Lucas Zabo. Then it's Matt Dunkovich there in 11th as this group for 4th continues on.
As we watch that battle for P4 between Fox, Bailiff, and, of course, Raffa as they continue to work their way through. A couple of other drivers who have been on the move. Finnegan Bailiff, 17 positions since the start of the race. Really strong performance, along with Byron Daly picking up 14 spots as well. He's in 19th as well. Great drive for these competitors who started outside of the top 20.
Yeah, long way forward for them. It's been a long and somewhat boring race here, I'd imagine, for Oliver Hodgson as he comes around the dogleg. 5 seconds up the road from Chase Jones. 2 to go here for the comp cart driver as he heads down to turns 1 and 2. Here's Jones aboard the MPG Willpower Cart, and still about 10 seconds back to 3rd place on the racetrack with Justin White. Here's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Aiden Fox, Gavin Bailiff, Ryan Raffa coming through the dogleg. Big run for Fox all the way to the bumper of, big run for Bailiff all the way to the bumper of Aiden Fox. Raffa goes wide, gives himself a good run on the straightaway to turn number 3. What is he going to do with it here? Fox is going to block low. Raffa goes high. Bailiff goes high. Crossover to 3, puts him on the outside again. Not able to fully complete anything there as they go up the hill to the red 171 hairpin.
Aiden Fox doing exactly what he needs to do, but how about Bailiff taking a look to the outside?
Comes on the other side. Connor Ferris has gone around over in turn number 4. The championship points leader just spun off screen there, and he was running in 7th, trying to just make laps. He had a 5-second cushion to Alfonso Lombardo, and this is big-time championship implications for Connor Ferris. He'll drop all the way down outside the top 10.
Tough break for him, and as just we saw there on the screen here now, it is going to be Gavin Bailiff and Raffa who will get around Aiden Fox for that 4th and 5th position. He'll fall back to P6. White flag in the air for Oliver Hodgson's.
1 more lap to go for Hodgson. Here comes Raffa and company onto the bumper. This is a bigger group further back. Here is Nikita Panaris and company. There is the top group. Heads onto the front straightaway for the final time. Gavin Bailiff trying to hang on for 4th. Ryan Raffa holding on to 5th. Looking for a way around him. Here they come to turn number 3. Bailiff going to open the door. Raffa will not go down the inside. They take the normal line through 3 over to 4. Aiden Fox still trails about 3 car lengths away. All this happening 20 seconds down the road from the race leader, Oliver Hodgson. And here he comes up the hill. No, not enough that time. I thought Raffa had a look down the inside. It'll be maybe the back straightaway here for Ryan Raffa to go for the lead, or for the position Fourth place up for grabs, not going to happen there. Meanwhile, Oliver Hodgson all the way around the outside of the racetrack will continue to complete his dominant performance here in the main event today. Comp Cart's got to be happy. Back-to-back wins for KA Masters and KA Stars. Oliver Hodgson wins in New Jersey. Jones second. Here's the fight back for fourth as Justin White will take third. Battling through the back sector. Rafa looking for a way past on Gavin Bailiff. Oh, and there's a big wreck right in front of us. George Fagali comes together with another driver, and across the line, no change. Bailiff hangs on, and look at this battle here on the final lap. Two of them coming together. That was, I'd have to guess, with the 953 involved.
Ethan O-Ring, possibly.
Yeah, Ethan O-Ring as well in the 945. So Ethan O-Ring coming together with George Fagali, potentially. That's almost teammates. Ethan O-Ring in the Full Tilt Racing OTK and George Fagali in the Brandon Jarskrek Racing Lando Norris car. They'll drop down. Great news for Connor Ferris. He'll pick up another spot, gets himself back to 11th. Finnegan Bailiff, 19 spots gained by the checkered flag. Byron Daly, 18 spots gained to 15th. And let's take another look at that one here as the field comes on through. Across the line, there was Justin White going by. So checkers in the air here for the KA Stars division. The rest of the field will cycle through. And Oliver Hodgson, victorious here on Sunday afternoon in New Jersey. Chase Jones second, and Justin White completes your podium. We've got more racing coming up next here as the Micros, the KZ and ROK Masters will follow. KA Junior and the Pro Stars will be set to go. But first up here for the micro class, Marco Salmon and company are ready for battle here once again.
Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex ROK engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jecco Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com. Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParallelinUSA.com. If you're looking for top-grade equipment, look no further than Rev Performance Materials, engine mounts, sprockets, and arcade chains. Available online now at RevPerformanceMaterials.com and through a dealer near you. The highest quality material, built to the highest quality standards. Rev Performance Materials.
Are you ready to meet your favorite new karting product? Meet the tunable karting axle from Taika Technologies. Our globally patented tuning inserts make it easy for users to adjust stiffness in just minutes, making it the perfect tool for drivers new to the sport or trying to make the most out of their setup. The best of the best choose Taika, so get over to TaikaTech.com and grab yours today.
Welcome back here live from Millville, New Jersey for the micro main event. Marco Samet and Enzo De Janeiro will get set to lead the field off once again. Kai Mars and Danny O'Gara will make up row number 2. Jake Manolio and Chris Lavoie, row 3. Caleb Smith, Gage Harden, row 4. Griffin Vukic and Oliver Guernsey, row number 5. And Caleb Tracy will round off the field as we get set for group number 5 of 8 here for the Stars Championship Series Thunder and Lightning round at New Jersey Motorsports Park. The sun continues to shine. We're back to slick tires, a little bit of dampness on the racetrack, but for the most part, back to normal. Out of the final corner, we'll come on to the front straightaway now, and we get set for the start lights in the start zone. Marco Samet and company. Here we go. Turn 1. We're green, and Enzo De Janeiro hits the water. Couple drivers do go a little bit wide there in turn number 1. Danny O'Gara got the worst of it. He lost a lot of time, and Kai Mars has slotted into second as the rest of the pack slides on in through turn number 3.
How about that by Kai Mars? He really had a good run in the pre-finals earlier today, but now looking to see if he can capitalize on coming home with a finals win here at New Jersey Motorsports Park as they climb the hill up to turn number 6. It's going to be Samet, Mars, and then De Janeiro who holds on in that third position as they work their way down the back straightaway, heading over to the kink. And here they work their way through. It's the blue and green 3 machine of Marco Samet leading the charge to the 180 switchbacks.
So already a little bit of separation from third on back here as Kai Mars quickly starts to make up some ground. Little bit of battling between Danny O'Gara and Enzo De Janeiro. That was for fourth here as O'Gara and De Janeiro on the outside lane in turns 1 and 2 lost a lot of time. And so now a minute in here to the 16-minute plus 2 laps main event. So far, De Janeiro goes around out of fourth, hits the water and gets stuck out in the grass. And you can see the frustration for Enzo, as unfortunately that is going to put an end to his day and a nail in the coffin. As we see up front, Kai Mars up to the bumper of race leader Marco Samet, nearly gets the lead there in turn number 2.
Great battling here as Malinello is working his way through in that third spot, gaining a couple of positions. How about Caleb Tracy? 7 spots since the start of the green flag, moving up to P4. He's still quite a ways back, though, from your top 3 as they continue to work their way through turn number 5, up the hill to turn number 6. Samet, Mars, and, of course, Jake Malinello, who lead the way in that group.
Yeah, Jake Manolio has not been up front all too much here this weekend. In the number 9 car as he closes up to Kai Mars. He'll push him up to the bumper of Marco Samet, headed on through and down into the back hairpin. So with all that said, Marco Samet, Kai Mars, Jake Manolio, 1, 2, 3, no change yet. Kai Mars' teammate, Gavin Bailiff, has had a decent weekend as a whole and a few spots gained all session long, or all weekend long coming through the field. He's caught up with Alexander Searle following that wild KA Stars main event. Alex?
Yeah, thank you, Jen. I'm here with Gavin Bailiff. We finished 4th on track, but after penalties, actually finished on the podium in 3rd place. Gavin, talk to me, man. How good is that cart? I mean, you're up 8 spots in that race.
The cart was working beautifully. We were kind of seeing what it would do with the rain and the drying track. Kind of worked it out on the first lap, saw where I needed to go to make passes, and there's a couple wet spots down the chicane, but other than that, the cart was rolling. I was able to get up positions. Ryan Raffa really helped work with me to get through some of the traffic, but I just played my game and waited for the right moves to happen.
Awesome, yeah, and you mentioned the drying track. How dry is the racetrack, and how sketchy is that final chicane there with the wetness?
Oh, the track itself is dry, but that chicane, 99% of the track is dry, but that 1% in that chicane, it's probably 2 or 3 seconds a lap. You got to really slow down for it. Wait for it to come to you.
Awesome. Yeah. One last thing. Who would you like to thank for this podium finish?
Oh, I got to thank all of Trinity Karting, my dad, my parents, both my parents, my dad, my mom, my brother for helping me out during the weekend, Comet Racing Engines for giving me the power to be able to make it right, and just everyone under Trinity.
Awesome. Yeah. Gavin Bailiff, everybody. 3rd place finisher in the KA Stars class. Back to you, Xander.
Wild to hear that with the information coming through that a penalty was handed down the order in the KA Stars division that has affected the podium, and I'm not sure which driver it affected, whether it was Chase Jones, Justin White, or Oliver Hodgson. Have trouble believing it'd be anyone, it'd be in any way pertaining to the race winner, Oliver Hodgson, but either way, Gavin Bailiff gets some hardware, And now his teammate, Kai Mars, trying to do the same. It was a big-time win back at GoPro Motorplex. His first on the series kind of catapulted him into the championship fight. Marco Samet won back at round number 1, and there was some lap traffic that played into it here, into it there. I don't think we'll see that here on the longer racetrack here in New Jersey, but two drivers top of their game right now on the Stars Championship Series. Point standings for Micro going at it for the win at round number 3. Marco Samet, Kai Mars, head-to-head as Jake Manalio has fallen back about a second away from the leaders. They're still about 6 seconds up on Caleb Tracy and Danny O'Gara, 4th and 5th. Chris Lavoie, Caleb Smith, Griffin Vukic, Cage Harden, and Oliver Guernsey, your top 10 still, as Samet will come by the line this time to put 4 laps complete. 11 minutes plus 2 laps remaining here in the main event.
Great drive by Marco Samet as they come across the line here. He is still under immense pressure from Kai Mars, but these two pretty much going to try to just ride it out, try to build that gap even more so in order to stay away from Jake Manalio, who is in 3rd position, in order to try to make sure it's a 2-horse race for position as Caleb Tracy, Danny O'Gara swatch up into the 4th and 5th positions. Lavoie, Smith next to come across the line momentarily as they keep on racing here up at the front of the field. This is one of your best battles for position.
It absolutely is, but we're waiting to see when Kai Mars wants to really get aggressive with it. He seems content at the moment to just kind of ride in the wake of Marco Samet, push him when the opportunity's there, and learn from him as the track continues to develop. Every lap is faster for these kids, especially right now at the beginning of the session, but in general, as that final part, as Gavin Bailiff mentioned, 2 to 3 seconds off with where the water is in the back chicane. So with that slowly getting better, you'll still see times get quicker and quicker all the way probably to the final couple laps here in the Micro main event, and could be all the way into the KZ and ROK Master main event coming up after this one. Again, we've still got 3 more mains following the Micros before we're wrapped up here from New Jersey for the on-track action. Marco Samet and Kai Mars, again, late in the way here in Micro. KZ and ROK Masters will come next. Then it'll be time for KA Junior, and then the Pro Stars will cap off our afternoon. Down to turns 1 and 2. Once again, new best laps hit for both of the top 2 drivers, and Kai Mars this time with a little bit of the advantage to get the fastest lap overall.
Great run by those top 2 as they are definitely setting the pace of the field. Currently 4 seconds up ahead of Jake Manalio, who holds on in 3rd position. 5 seconds ahead of Caleb Tracy to round out your top 4. He is in an intense battle with Danny O'Gara, who's a 10th back from them. I would like to take a look at that battle actually between the 55 and the 51 machine as they work their way through the middle of the corner here, and they work their way up through the field.
So there they go down the back straightaway. Marco Samet and Kai Mars coming on through. Then you'll go back. You'll see there's Jake Manalio, all in no man's land in 3rd, and cresting over the hill is this grouping here for 4th, and they are side by side. Danny O'Gara trying the outside lane on Caleb Tracy, not able to get the job done there for P4 that time by, but he's continuing to apply some pressure in that MPG Motorsports Will Power Kart right behind the Race Factory machine of Caleb Tracy. Little bobble through that section, and they'll come towards the long outer loop. This time by, again, will be less than 8 minutes to go, or as we've got 7.5 minutes complete so far, 8.5 at the moment showing on the ticker, still to come plus 2 laps. Right at that halfway marker on the timestamp, a little bit under halfway in the race as a whole. Up front, here's your leaders. Back to turn number 3, no change. Marco Samet still leads over Kai Mars, and again, Manalio that time slipping further and further away from the top 2, but pulling further and further away from Caleb Tracy and Danny O'Gara. He seems relatively safe in that final podium spot for 3rd. Tracy and O'Gara that time at a 16.5 or 17.4 for both of them. Jake Manalio a 15.7, so that's a second faster. Kai Mars and Marco Samet half a second better than Jake Manalio at 15.1s apiece. Both of them, again, every single lap a little bit quicker, a little bit more confident through that wet section on the circuit, and as well the dry parts of the racetrack, I'm sure, getting cleaner and cleaner by the lap. Because when you get the heavy rain, it'll bring all kinds of marbles, dirt, and rocks onto the circuit if it starts to flood across, which we did get some pretty heavy rain during our lightning delay earlier this afternoon.
We certainly did, but it looks like the track is completely dry for the most part, except for a couple of puddles, maybe over by turn 1. Other than that, still a lot of a great track, but of course that rubber's now going to start building up here as we watch on Marco Samet, Kai Mars come across the line here as they work their way through. Just shy of 7 minutes left to go on the clock. There's that one puddle right there as they enter into turn number 1. We saw that come into play in some of our other races earlier today in the finals as they work their way through turn 2. Mars just taking his time, has lost a little bit of a touch to Marco Samet as they work through turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, just a little bit through the inner loop. Now they'll go up the hill to the hairpin, turn number 6. Single file, a car length apart, like you said. Just a little bit of time lost, but that toe coming out of the front stretch pulls him close every single lap. So Kaimar's going to school right now and trying to learn when and where he might be able to make a move later on in this main, because he is doing everything he needs to do to keep it a 2-car battle and not show any opportunities for Marco Samet to learn from him. On the flip side, if he goes in front early on, Marco Samet could learn a little bit from where Kai Mars is running on the racetrack and maybe add some more speed to his own level. As for this final sector, though, this is all Marco Samet. I mean, he's pulled out 4 car lengths over Kai Mars with a little mistake in the back hairpin, so open that gap up. Also, we got problems on the other side of the racetrack. This looks to be the number 41 or maybe the 11 of Caleb Smith in the energy, in the 11 indeed. So Caleb Smith was running 7th. He was just ahead of Griffin Vukic and Oliver Guernsey. He is stuck and unfortunately will get out of the go-kart, and that will do it for Caleb Smith. And a top 10 run will now drop all the way down to 10th as Enzo De Janeiro joins him at the DNF list all the way at the bottom of the timing monitor. Marco Samet, though, starting to pull away from Kai Mars. That time, again, a 10th better this time. Even a little bit better through the opening sector. Marco Samet finding another gear right when he needs to here with 5.5 minutes remaining.
Certainly is the case here as they work their way towards the back half of the course, heading over towards the 180 switchbacks that we see. Samet really putting the pressure down and laying some incredible lap times of 1:14.83. So that times are really dropping and really starting to show the track is warming up for these competitors out here on the circuit. There comes Kai Mars with a big run out of that second run. Here they come through the back half of the course, through the final few corners. Kai Mars starting to now close back in on Marco Samet.
Through the chicane here, 5 minutes to go. Marco Samet, Kai Mars, 2 to 3 car lengths apart. Look at this. Danny O'Gara side by side once again with Caleb Tracy. Got all the way halfway up alongside him. Couldn't fully get the job done. 4.5 minutes to go. There goes your leaders down the front straightaway. Jake Manolio still trailing about a 6 to 7 second gap back. Here is the group for 4th. Caleb Tracy, Danny O'Gara. Back and forth we go. Tracy hanging on to the spot here with 4.5 minutes remaining. O'Gara to the outside. Down to turn number 1, trying to get clear. He almost is. Hits the water, gets a little bit sideways. He'll save it over in turn number 2, but a lot of time lost for the MPG Will Power Car driver.
Tough break for him as he will slide back to that 5th position, but he will keep on pressing forward to try to hunt down Danny O'Gara as they work on through the field up to the top of the hill at turn 6. We go back up to the front of the field with Marco Samet still holding strong over Kai Mars in the 23 machine. Gives him a little bit of push before they enter into that 180 switchback. Sets up for another good run through here. Looks to the inside. Can't make it work this time around. Now tries to get back to the back bumper of Marco Samet.
Yeah, he'll close back up. So for a moment, it looked like Kai Mars was in danger of losing touch with the race leader. He has quickly shut that down. Closed up 2/10 the lap before. Closing up a little bit more now. Great run in the works for Kai Mars coming on this straightaway as well. 3 car lengths away, 2 car lengths away, 1 car length back, headed through the dog leg. Here he comes to the bumper, this time by 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go, and Kai Mars hits his new personal best of the race. 5 thousandths off the overall best time held by race leader Marco Samet.
Great drive by these 2 young guns, those 2 future stars of the Stars Tour and other series that they may progress throughout the years to come as they work their way up through turn number 5, up the top of the hill to turn number 6. Samet, Mars still just biding their time, just trying to get to the finish. 3 minutes left to go on the clock.
Down the hill through the chicane here, Kai Mars on the bumper of Marco Samet all the way down the back straightaway, pushing him, and the BJR Lando Norris kart still has seen nothing yet of a challenge, just pressure from behind. Lots of pushing, lots of white and green behind him, but no pass attempts for Marco Samet and Kai Mars. Back behind them, there goes Danny O'Gara and Caleb Tracy, 4th and 5th with 2.5 minutes to go, and we'll pick up some of the back markers here that could be potential lap traffic to play a factor once again here in the micro main event. They're running 1 minute 10 to 1 minute 14 lap times. Some of these slower drivers in the back of the field are 4 to 5 seconds a lap slower, and they're more than a minute back. So while it looked like maybe we wouldn't see lap traffic play into account, I think we might. There's a very good chance Griffin Vukic and Gage Harden at 5 seconds per lap slower, with the leaders only about 20 to 15 seconds away, will end up right in the thick of things on the final 2 laps here, and that could make things very interesting.
Very interesting indeed, and we'll see how this will come to play for a lot of our competitors here in the closing minutes. 2-minute warning up on the clock for these competitors as they approach up to the top of hill, turn 6. Samet gets a little wide. That opens the door for Kai Mars, who can't make it capitalize on that mistake.
Yeah, not sure what happened for Marco Samet. Obviously, the momentum was kept up running around the outside, but a corner that has been fully dry for quite some time now saw the number 3 go wide through the infield and the back sector now. The inner part of the right and left switchback hairpins. Marco Samet, Kai Mars. No change yet. A minute to go at the line, plus 2 laps. So we're looking at 3 laps to go because they will not have enough time, I believe, to get, or could be 4. It'd be borderline. No, 3 to go here this time. There'll be less than 1 lap left. So 3 more laps around. Lap traffic as it crosses is less than 10 seconds away. So Marco Samet and company here, it looks like they're taking care of it. Gage Arden flagged it into the field, so that won't play a factor. And I believe they may have just given the black flag as well to Griffin Vukic to clear the path for the leaders. Oliver Guernsey should be safe. He's about 25 to 30 seconds up the road, but Gage Arden and Griffin Vukic, they're going to pull off to the side with 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. They do not want a repeat of what we saw at GoPro Motorplex with lap traffic, making it really tricky for the youngsters in the lead to find their way around.
Certainly is the case here, and they work their way down the back straightaway. Kai Mars gets a great run off corner exit of turn 6. Just going to bide his time a little bit, not push it here at this moment. He still knows he's got another 2 more laps to make this work for him to come out on top with the victory here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Marco Samet just taking his time, hitting his marks, making sure he can keep that number 23 behind him as they approach some more lap traffic.
Yeah, here they come out of the back sector. The timer will elapse. 2 laps to go. This time by a 2-driver duel is what this micro main event has been setting up for since the drop of the green, really since lap number 2 when Kai Mars got through on Jake Manolio and started to push Marco Samet away. They've got a 10-second cushion out back. They could battle every single corner on these final 2 laps. It would not matter. As long as they don't crash, at worst they finish second. At best, they could challenge for the race win. Kai Mars, big run coming, turn 3. Does he look? And Marco Samet leaves the door open, says, come on by, and he does not even try it. So 2 laps to go. No move yet here from Kai Mars.
Kai Mars just waiting for the right time to set it up as they climb the hill up to turn 6. This is where he's really shown he has speed up to the top of the hill. Look to the inside, can't make it work. Now tucks up back behind Marco Samet for that second position. Down the back straightaway, heading over to the King. Going to stay tucked right underneath that bumper. Try to see if he can make a move into the 180 switchback.
Yeah, here he goes through the left-right chicane into the back right hairpins here. Marco Samet, Kai Mars, still 1 car length apiece. They're separated. Through there, out towards the outer loop now. Marco Samet's pulled it back to 2 car lengths, so it'll be maybe a run to turn number 1, maybe a run on the backstretch, and maybe something in turn number 3. But I don't think Kai Mars will be close enough next time to wait all the way to the back hairpin, and now he's 4 to 5 car lengths back. Samet talked to his father a little bit earlier this weekend. They've only been here 1 previous time to race, so still just as much a green racetrack and a new track for him as it was for the rest of the field, with just limited practice sessions here in the Micro Swift class and for all classes. 4 sessions Friday, a warm-up along with qualifying and a single heat race yesterday. Today, a pre-final alone to try and make sure we got this race in, barring all the inclement weather conditions. 2 car lengths apart here. Kai Mars is still not close enough as they chase it up the hill.
Up the hill for the final time into turn number 6. Kai Mars sends it in, not close enough to make anything work. Marco Samet doing what he needs to do in the closing stages as he holds him off down the back straightaway through the kink.
Here comes Samars, though. Big run out of nowhere. Kai Mars, slingshot engage. He's gotten to the lead. Marco Samet back down the inside, runs him wide. He'll get clear into the hairpins, though. Mars had it for a split second. And Kai Mars now has to go back on the offensive again. Can he get the momentum? Can he get the run? Here comes that slick spot for the final time. A car length back going to the chicane. Hops over the curbing, runs around the outside, runs a little wide for Mars, but he's starting this final run to the line, a car length away. Big run coming. Here comes Mars, looking to go by. Gets to the inside of the dog leg. They're going to go side by side, and Samet closes the door. He wins in New Jersey.
Oh, you can see the frustration in Kai Mars. He knew he almost had that, but unfortunately Marco Samet just got a little bit of a better run out of the final corner to come out on top. Here comes Jake Manalio to come home in third position. Your podium finishers for the Micros.
Caleb Tracy will end up in fourth. Danny O'Gara fifth if they stay in line, and they will. O'Gara a little ways further back. As you can see, the delta pretty massive back to the rest of the pack, but all about Marco Samet and Kai Mars as they work their way down the backstretch for the final for the cool down lap. A beautiful finish here for Danny O'Gara to round off the top five. Chris Lavoie will end in sixth. Oliver Guernsey will default to seventh as Griffin Vukic, Gage Harding were flagged off to avoid lap traffic problems, and Caleb Smith rounds the top 10. Micro, all wrapped and done. 3 more main events coming your way here still from New Jersey. KZ and ROK Masters is up next.
How you doing? My name is Mike Doty from Mike Doty Racing from Orange County, New York. We're about an hour north of New York City. We're a full-service kart shop that we supply IAME, Rotax, and all ROK engines. We sell OTK parts and all the tires for all the different series. We support USPKS, SCUSA, Rotax, which is the Stars and Stripes, and the ROK Winter Tour. What we do is we try to get the drivers better by data, driver coaching, and setup. We have a lot of good drivers that come through our program. We have a lot of experience. I've been doing it for almost 35 years, and we just try to translate that to all our customers.
For more info about Mike Doty Racing, you can contact us at mikedotyracing@gmail.com or call us at 845-551-0572.
Karting is one of the most intense forms of motorsport, and if you manage a racetrack or commercial facility, you know how hard it is to find good help. Let us introduce to you our newest track safety product, the 4-flag light system from Pixelcom. Pixelcom products are incredibly affordable, and our plug-and-play system makes the only requirements lights and a wireless remote. The ability to upgrade your system with intuitive software and additional products makes this the perfect system for tracks of all sizes. Communicating with drivers on track will make your program run more smoothly and, most importantly, increase safety dramatically once deployed. Find us online today at tracksystemsna.com and let us elevate your motorsport.
Here we are back.
Will line up on the inside lane, the cleaner side of the racetrack. Rivera to the outside aboard the GFC karting chassis. Robert Feige will line up on the HMG number 644, the inside of row 2 alongside Morin Van Tok and the VTM Engines TB cart. Then it'll be Hugh Templeman and John Stapleton on row 3, Safik Adik and Joseph Catania, row 4. To the lights we go for the final time in KZ and ROK Masters, and away we are here, and it's a rough start for the pole sitter Scott Presti. Mike Rivera gets the whole shot. Morin Van Tok slots in line to second.
Working their way through as one cart is around. Let's take a look and see who that one is.
Robert Feige in the 644 HMG entry, spinning over in turn number 2, rolled off the grid in third.
And he gets it fired back up after having to give it a little bit of a push as they work their way up, though, to our race leaders in the turn number 6. It is going to be Mike Rivera leading the charge as they work their way through it. He's really pulled out to a big lead right now as they work their way through the kink, heading over to the switchbacks.
Yeah, so a couple car lengths here for Rivera. Back to Morin Van Tok, back to Scott Presti, who the fellow VTM driver is following his team boss as they go through the hairpin switchbacks. Not able to get by yet, but he's closing in as they go towards turns 1 and 2. And here they come all the way on back now. So through the chicane, looks like it's mostly dried up, I would say, after a couple of sessions of running through the puddles. And down to the dog leg to put one lap in the books. Mike Rivera's lead, a little bit over a second. Back to Morin Van Tok and Scott Presti. Van Tok holding on to the spot for the moment. Presti right behind. I think we'll see that pass for position possibly come this time to turn number 3. No, not close enough yet here for Scott Presti to get by on Morin Van Tok, so he stays in line. We'll keep the camera on them while also sending it over to give some airtime to the kid who just got away with one there in micro. He was able to get the win. Marco Samet is in the house and is caught up with Alexander Searle.
Yeah, thank you, Xander. I'm here with Marco Samet, your winner in the Micro Stars class. Marco, you've led every session this weekend. Tell me, how good has the cart been so far?
It's been pretty good. I haven't seen it better all year. It's fast, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, talk me through that race. Obviously, you had a good battle with Kai Mars there to end the race, but you're able to walk out on top. Talk me through the race and how good it was from your perspective.
It was really, the first couple laps was good, fine, leading, I was just pushing. Then last lap, tried to go for something, got him back, and then we just stayed like that. So really all it was him pushing me and trying to pass me and get it the win.
Awesome, yeah. And obviously the track is pretty much dried up now, but there's still that one slick chicane. I mean, how treacherous is that to drive through?
First, it was pretty hard to drive through the first couple laps, but then the last couple laps, you can just go flat through it, just have to not really go the normal line. But yeah, it was easier at the last couple laps.
Awesome, man. One last question. I mean, who would you like to thank for this rake victory?
I would like to thank Fox and Sun Racing Engines for my engine, Ben and Josh Crack Racing, and Paulie Massimino for coaching me, and my mom, dad, and sister coming out to support me, and also my grandpa to come.
Awesome, yeah. Marco Sam, everybody, you're a race winner in the Micro Stars class. Back to you, Xander.
Thanks, Alex. So we go back to it here. Mike Rivera, Scott Presti was able to get around on your screen ahead of Morin Van Tok. Flat time by, though, he still gave up a couple tenths to Mike Rivera. So 3 minutes in, the gap already up to a second and a half for the GFC driver, the number 522 of Mike Rivera, pulling away here in KZ and ROK Master. Scott Presti second, Morin Van Tok in third, Hugh Templeman fourth, John Stapleton fifth, Robert Feige is in sixth. Safik Adik, Joseph Catania, both drivers with issues here that did not let them get to the grid for the main event. They'll get scored down in 7th and 8th, unfortunately. 12 minutes and some change here, plus 2 laps to go for Scott Presti to try and hunt down Mike Rivera. That time by, he gave up a whole lot, over a second, trying some different lines here to see where he can find a little more speed. Rivera, we talked to him earlier in the weekend, said he was going with a little bit of a non-traditional setup from what typically is fast here. Had to work a little more on other ends of the go-kart than to go with an axle that might be a little bit softer and bend over the curbing. He said he's bent it all the time, decided he wanted to start this weekend, just tune around that. Start with something a little bit more awkward, but a little more sturdy that won't get bent up. And so far, it's paid off for him relatively well. Didn't win the pre-final, but he is already pulling away nicely nicely here in this main event.
He certainly has as he comes across the line here, and he sets another fast lap with a 104.10 as he continues to work his way out through turn number 1. Scott Presti now 3.2 seconds back from your race leader as the field works their way through, down through the back half into the inner loop of the circuit, leading up to turn number 5 and 6. Great drive by Mike Rivera in that 522. Really no other major battles on the racetrack. Everyone's separated, just trying to log laps as we only have 6 karts out on the circuit.
Yeah, everyone just settling into their groove, and all the lap times pretty spread apart as a whole here. Mike Rivera, Scott Presti, Morn Van Tok, Hugh Templeman, John Stapleton, Robert Fiege after the spin was able to get back going. He is a little bit quicker than Stapleton and a little bit quicker than Hugh Templeman, or about the same as Hugh Templeman. So we could see Robert Fiege catch up to John Stapleton before the end for KZ and ROK Master. As a whole here with Mike Rivera, Scott Presti, again, your top 2 drivers so far.
Great run for them right now as they continue to work their way up through the field here and watching on this battle, working to see if Mike Rivera can maintain this lead over Scott Presti as they come across the line here. Rivera still setting some blistering times now, fell off a half a second, but still has a second up on Scott Presti in second position. Watching on as the field continues to work and log laps here, just closing in on 10 minutes left to go on the clock. As we already just saw Mike Rivera work their way up through turn number 6. We now see Scott Presti now all by his lonesome, trying to make sure he can stay ahead of Morn Van Tok, who holds about 1.3 seconds behind him for that second step of the podium.
Big thing to note here is we get set for the KZ and ROK Master class to run its course with Mike Rivera heavily out in front. KA100 Junior is next up in what should be a very action-packed main event. Max Taylor, Cooper O'Clair, Anthony Rivera, Austin Olds, and a lot more were all in contention throughout their pre-final. It ended up with the top 3 kind of separating away and having their own little battle, but that was, of course, with some other big names that got shuffled back early on. Ben Hernandez, for example, fastest lap of the session, up, down, sideways, and all around for himself. For John Antonino, he got the worst of it with all the battling for the lead. He'll start 29th on the grid. A lot of work to be done for the 893 Race Factory driver, but we've got a heavy-handed grid coming your way here for the 30-driver KA Junior class when the KZ and ROK Masters are wrapped up as we approach the halfway marker. 7 minutes in, 9 minutes to go. Mike Rivera continues to lead, and the camera remains on Scott Presti to see if that gap will come down. It has not. It has opened up. 5 seconds now between Rivera and Presti.
Certainly is the case here as they work their way down toward the back half of the course, heading over to the 180 switchbacks. Drivers just really logging laps now, trying to see where they can find that advantage to make up time. There's a little bit of a bobble right there for Scott Presti as he hops over the curb, continues on racing here with his shifter kart working on through. Of course, the ROK Master has been some of the dominant cars all weekend long here at New Jersey. The KZ Masters did win in, of course, the pre-final event, but, of course, other than that, Rivera has been the dominant car all weekend long.
Which is a testament to, really, Mike Rivera. We know that coming into this weekend with the way that the weights are structured for the subcategory, the ROK Master division, out of the overall Master Stars class, that the ROK package is a little bit underpowered. It does have some good bottom-end horsepower compared to the KZs, but the doesn't have the same top-end speed. So for Mike Rivera to be that much quicker than the field is just a testament to his driving ability to be able to pull further and further away than the KZ Master counterparts in the form of Scott Presti and Morn Van Tok. Hugh Templeman, John Stapleton, again, still 4th and 5th. We look back to where Robert Fiege's times are. He was closing in, and I believe may have already gotten his way around John Stapleton for that 5th position. As Rivera works his way towards the back sector, just past the halfway mark, 7.5 minutes to go, plus 2 laps. Mike Rivera in the GFC entry, comfortable out in the lead. Here's Hugh Templeman, a little bit further back in the Charlotte, North Carolina-based pilot for the Magic Kart USA squad. 2nd in the subcategory ROK Masters class. 4th overall on the circuit. Down about 15 seconds from the lead, about 6 to 7 away from Morn Van Tok there for 3rd. He runs healthily ahead of John Stapleton and Robert Fiege, who will be, I believe, trading that 4th position or 5th position shortly. Safik Hadik and Joseph Catania would slip not only about midway through, right on both front and back end of Hugh Templeman. So both of them leaving him kind of by himself for this main event with 7 minutes to go.
7 minutes left to go on the clock here as they work their way through. How about that little bobble right there by Hugh Templeton? men to hold on to that cart for as he works his way up to the top of the hill of turn number 6. But a great drive for him, holding strong with a 4th place finish possibly in the books for him as he works his way down the hill, working through the S's down the long back straightaway over to the kink. And as he picks up that speed and momentum to send it on in towards over at the 180 switchbacks. A great drive for him after picking up a spot.
Yeah, picks up one off the start there with Robert Feige going around in turn number 2. For the most part, though, the big benefit for the KZ and ROK Masters preceding the Pro Stars and the KA Juniors as they are cleaning off this racetrack tremendously. That little bit of puddling that was happening over at turn number 1, those guys hitting it on the start and just running right next to it will continue to push that water away off the circuit and gives us more time for the sun to come out and dry this racetrack off. It's nearly 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is still just right about where we're set to close off the afternoon with the original timetable posted, with KA Junior set to roll off at 4 p.m. and at 4:15 set to roll the Pro Stars, wrapping up our day around 4:30. Podiums around 5 p.m. Obviously today, big time change in the schedule due to all the lightning delays from yesterday. Cut out most of heat number 2, cut out all the warm-up to try and give us time, and we needed that buffer time, obviously, getting back onto where we are now. Heavy lightning delays in the early afternoon around 1 to 2 p.m.
It certainly was, but now we're getting ready to have some clear, sunny skies. Still a little bit of clouds up over here towards us, towards the back half of the course, but overall, no rain left in the forecast. Just a very windy day, and that's going to help just dry the track up even more for our next 2 classes.
So with 5 minutes to go, 11 minutes complete for Mike Rivera. His best lap coming early on in the session. He's just kind of about half second off the pace of it. Scott Presti the same. Gives up another 3/10 that time by 5.8 seconds back from Rivera at the moment. Warren Van Tok in the 668. About 14 seconds off the lead. 8 seconds back from Scott Presti. Hugh Templeman still 4th, Robert Feige 5th. John Stapleton has been shuffled back down to the 6th position, and both of them are still a good ways back as a whole from the lead, but at least Feige able to salvage a top 5 so far.
Yeah, Feige able to now get into the top 5 now after losing 2-3 positions here in the early stages, working his way up through the field right now as they continue to work up into the switchback. There you see him working his way through. As there you now also see Scott Presti in shot in 2nd position. He has lost all that time. He's 5 seconds back from Mike Rivera, who is still holding strong, still setting some very decent laps. Only driver still to stay in the 104s.
4 minutes to go here for the KZ and ROK Master division. As we've got 11 laps complete now for Mike Rivera. Here comes the end of lap number 11 for Scott Presti, a 105.684, exactly a second slower. And he can go into cruise control at this point with the healthy margin he's built up over his teammate Warren Van Tok after a rough start. At least at this point, Scott Presti doesn't have to, kind of have a what-if scenario of whether or not he would have got the whole shot. Would it have made a difference in his finishing position? Because the pace of Mike Rivera is on another level here for this main event. I mean, he's only 2/10 to 3/10 better than Scott Presti when it comes to the best lap, but the consistent pace that Mike Rivera has been putting down to build the lap that he has over Presti and company, that's what's ultimately made the difference here.
Has made the difference here today for him, and he is really showcasing his talent here today as we are coming up to 3 minutes left to go on the clock for Mike Rivera, plus the additional 2 laps. So looking around 5 laps to go here around New Jersey Motorsports Park for the finals for the KZ ROK Masters as they work their way across the start-finish line.
So 3 minutes left here, plus 2 laps. That should put us roughly about 5, maybe 6 laps to go. I'd be surprised if we got to that 6 marker. 12 laps complete here, a healthily long main that you'll see definitely some driver fatigue, I'm sure, out of the Pro Stars as well. At 16 minutes plus 2 laps, I mean, you're looking at a racetrack with 1 minute 5, 1 minute 6 lap times, 17 to 18 turns, depending on how you want to cut it and count it. Track that where you hit a lot of curbing, a lot of elevation, a few very high-speed flowing corners that really work your core, work your neck with the G-forces. It takes a beating on you. Every single time we go to talk to some of the Pro Stars drivers after their session, they look completely out of breath, needing a water bottle. That was Mike Rivera's request to you after we talked to him after his pre-final was, hey, I'll talk, but can I get some water here first before I come and talk to you? This is tough stuff.
It certainly is, and it just shows how even some of these drivers are having to deal with the circuit here. And of course, even some of the younger drivers struggling at this circuit. Talked to Josh Conker earlier in the weekend to talk about how difficult the bumps are on this track, especially when you come out of turn number 6. You really just feel the car just bottom out and bounce up through there as you're working down that back straightaway.
Big part of that too. At least they've shaved down curbs over the years. When this track was first built to the FIA CIK standards, all the curbs had to be built to a certain degree. And you'll see as we see Mike Rivera climb the hill here, that inside curb looks standard, but the runoff curbs they have are basically flat that he climbs over coming down that hill out of the red 171 hairpin. Those started off, I believe, as standard CIK curbs and then were eventually quickly shaved down as drivers were clobbering them coming down the exit of turn number 6. So in certain places, similar to what we see at NOLA Motorsports Park that started off with CIK level curbing, hosted the Rotax World Finals, hosted countless national and international level events since then, and still does to this day, has a few curbs that were originally up to CIK spec are no longer. As here we go, John Stapleton pulling off to the wayside. He gives way to Mike Rivera coming onto the front straightaway with less than a minute to go here. That'll make it at the three lap to go marker for Mike Rivera. Scott Presti in the 6:08 still trails him at the at a little bit quicker last time, a 104.96. Rivera 105.3. So opening that closing that gap up just a little bit, and that's just giving him some more insurance back to Morin Van Tok. For Mike Rivera, his storied karting career and one of the biggest supporters that you'll see here when it comes down to the Northeast. He'll travel all the way across the country down to the Florida Winter Tour every single year. And I'll never forget there was a really cool moment with Mike Rivera to show the respect that he's gotten of all the other Master drivers, because you see a lot of drivers move to Masters in their early, mid to late 30s and 40s. Mike Rivera's got a few more years than that. And he's known around the paddock as a true gentleman. His wife would come a lot of the ROK Cup Florida Winter Tour races, sing the national anthem. And there was one race, very similar day to today, with a drying racetrack. Rivera picked the right tire compound, went through the entire field from the back to the front on slicks while they were all on reins, and it was the ultimate underdog victory, it seemed like, for all the top-level guys at the Winter Tour in the Master ROK Shifter class. Every single one of them, when Mike pulled into the scale end with the checkered flag, gave him an astounding round of applause. It was super cool to see. May not exactly get that reaction today here with how dominant he's been, but he is definitely a well-respected driver in the paddock, one of the cleanest drivers you'll find in the Master ROK competition. And with a lap and a half to go, he is just a few moments away from putting another trophy, first-place trophy at that, into his case and into the record books.
He certainly is, and he is really just absolutely a stellar performance here today as he works his way towards the back half of the course for the one more time around for him. He's still got to make that final lap as they work down into the 180 switchback. He's been very smooth, consistent, not really see him sawing at the wheel a whole lot as we see some of the other competitors here who throughout the day, as he now gets a little bit bobbly right there as he comes over through that long sweeping corner, heading towards the back few lap corners here, and sets up for that final lap. Just really been smooth and consistent with his laps all day long. Just amazing drive by the legend of Mike Rivera.
So here they come across the line. 2 laps to go. Make it 1 lap to go. White flag in the air for Mike Rivera. A little wave to Justin Dittrich, head flagman, as they come across the line. And that's going to give him a nice little bit of assurance, I'm sure, to know this one is coming to a close. He's built a healthy margin. He has put the laps in that he's needed to. 17 laps will be the ending distance for the KZ and ROK Masters as he heads up the hill to the red 171 hairpin for the final time.
Out of the red 71 hairpin, he will go for the final time and work over the hills and bumps one more time down here. He's going to be excited to be done with this event here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. A dominant victory, a dominant weekend pretty much all the way through, except for getting that win in the pre-final event. Just works his way through smoothly, comes out of the 180 switchbacks, and sets up for another victory here today in the Stars Championship Series.
Here he comes on through. Mike Rivera, final time on the outer loop towards the dog leg onto the front straightaway. Nearly 10 seconds built up over Scott Presti and company. The 522 GFC chassis has been on rails all main event. It will go all the way, flag to flag for the win. Mike Rivera wins in KZ ROK Masters here in New Jersey for the Stars and Lightning. 3rd round of the championship in the Stars Championship Series. And across the line, there comes Scott Presti for 2nd. Morin Van Tok a few seconds back. He will complete the podium to put 2 VTM engine-powered go-karts inside the top 3. Mr. VTM, Morin Van Tok, will come around the final bend here to get the double checkers just now. And so there he goes. Actually, that's John Stapleton on by Van Tok. Here he comes across the line. That was the lap traffic of Stapleton in the 569. And Robert Feige all the way back up to 4th, having gotten around Hugh Templeman late in the going, was hunting down Warren Van Talk, ultimately just ran out of laps there as a whole. But that does it for KZ and ROK Master. KA Junior, Pro Stars, 2 top-level categories with a ton of competition coming up next here as we get set to go. But before we do that, let's see. Looks like a victory lapse in order for Mr. Mike Rivera. He'll borrow that checkered flag and bring it around. And as is tradition for him, we'll let him on go. And with that, we will get set for more action to come. Coming back your way here to Millville, New Jersey, the Stars Championship Series. 6 main events done. Mike Rivera has got himself one as well in the GFC karting chassis, and he'll take that victory lap with a checkered flag happily in the 522. Welcome back here to the Welcome back here to the Stars Championship Series for KA100 Junior. Max Taylor won out in a 3-way dogfight in the pre-final to get the lead and to start from the pole here for the main. And he will take his BJR Full Tilt Racing number 833 to the point on the end of this outlap, with Cooper O'Clair on the comp cart lining up to his outside. Anthony Rivera's Kart Republic in the 822 will make up the inside of row number 2 alongside Austin Olds. In the number 850 MPG Motorsports Will Power Kart, Cole Wilson and Henry Wheeler will make up row number 3. Mason Walters and Aiden Patty row 4. Sam Avrutsky and Wesley Gundler, who was up and down throughout the opening heat race, round off the top 10. Davin Roberts and Oliver Piatek will make up row number 6. Ben Hernandez, who we talked to after his crazy pre-final, will start in 13th alongside Carter Thompson. Then Liam Kerper and Indy Anderson, row number 8. Hayden Kasman, Daniel Binder, row 9. Sebastian Rice and CJ Bowman round off the top 20. Then it's Paulie Hart, Tom Englund, Safik Haddock III, Makai Winfrey, Isabella Simpson, Massimo Sinceri, Isaiah Crawley, Tanner Burlew, John Antonino named to watch starting 29th, and Valentin Rakvicius will start 30th. All together, already a sunny afternoon here in Jersey. We're racing for KA Junior down to turns 1 and 2, and it's a good start for Taylor as he drops down to the inside, and they'll go side by side for second. Give P2 to Anthony Rivera. Oliver Piatek with a great start. Big time start here for Piatek. Way deep in the field from 12th or 11th on the grid up into second already.
Yeah, I don't know where Piatek came from. I mean, what a start from him. It seems to be the story of the day so far. The inside lane is the way to go right now with that puddle on the outside of turn 1. Pretty much everyone who started in the odd numbers are up a lot of positions right now. Max Taylor, P1. Obviously, Piatek in from 11th all the way up to second, and Rivera now stays in third position.
A wild start for Oliver Piatek for sure, but he was able to take advantage. The pace looks decent for him. Henry Wheeler leads Cooper O'Clair in that second group of 3. But out front, it is still Max Taylor and the Lando Norris kart for BJR. Cooper Eau Claire back and forth. We got problems for one further back, one of the Hardin Motorsports Group's entries. That is the 878 machine, and that was Tanner Burlew, who's gone around over in the infield right-hander on the back sector. Up front, though, all clean for Max Taylor. Oliver Piatek locked onto the rear bumper down to turn 2. Not going to go to the inside yet. And Anthony Rivera stays in line there. Henry Wheeler, Cooper Eau Claire, Aiden Patty, Wesley Gunler, all to turn 3. Here comes Eau Claire down the inside. He'll take over the 4th spot.
Yeah, good move from Eau Claire there. Looking a little further down, Ben Hernandez already in 9th place, up 4 positions. Obviously, in the pre-final, he started 19th, was up to 4th until a last lap incident hindered his progress, and he finished in 13th. So already 4 positions for Ben Hernandez, are only 1.7 behind your leader. So look out for Ben Hernandez to make an impact in this feature race.
So here we go down into the right-handed hairpin. Max Taylor, Oliver Piatek, Anthony Rivera. How long do they wait before they start to battle? I'd have to think Cooper Eau Claire already getting 1 spot's going to be hungry to get some more. Here he goes with a big Lapa curb there coming through the camera corner. They'll go to the outer loop. Not much passing going to happen in this chicane. Looks like it's all back to normal now, but he will be in a good spot to maybe make a move on Rivera for that 3rd position if no one's going to battle with Max Taylor for the lead just yet. Henry Wheeler losing some touch, though, in the MPG Will Power Kart. He's slipping backward with a bad exit from the final sector into turn 2. Rivera getting some help from Cooper Eau Claire. Thought about a move on the inside, couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, the top 4 right now working together pretty smart. They're trying to pull away from Henry Wheeler in 5th, but I don't think they're going to work together for much longer because already, like you said, Cooper Eau Claire tried to peek a nose in turn 1, didn't make it stick. So these guys are getting really racy right now.
Interesting again here for Oliver Piatek to have that kind of superstar start and then not want to go to the lead as we see problems further back down the order. The 875 Ricardo kart has had an issue here. And that was Isaiah Crawley, crossed the line down in 28th, went around battling with the likes of Paulie Hart and Isabella Simpson. So near the back of the field, more trouble for a handful. Giving your update here on where John Antonino's up to. He's up 8 spots already to 21st. Was working on closing the gap to Mackay Winfrey, about a second back from the top 20 for the Race Factory USA driver up from the back of the grid. He's a third of the way towards the lead here. He needs a lot more battling than what's going on to get there, though, as they stay single file through the dogleg. Still out front, Max Taylor, Oliver Piatek, Anthony Rivera, Cooper Eau Claire, your top 4 as they go down to turns 1 and 2. And also, we've got your winner here in KZ and ROK Master. Mike Rivera is here, a long one, 16 minutes plus 2 laps. He's over here with Taylor.
Here with Mike Rivera coming home with a dominant victory here today. I mean, walk us through that race. I mean, you were just as smooth as can be from start to finish. I mean, what was it like there out on the track for you?
I just pushed as hard as I could because I'm actually in training, so I wanted to run every lap as hard as I could. Finally got a good start. I mean, I messed up the first 2, and then it turned out that both my seat tabs were broken on the seat, and that's why I was struggling all weekend. The kart was awesome. It was on rails. And Carlos Lopes, his horsepower is beyond, just beyond.
Well, of course, I mean, a lot of racing. Of course, you are one of the legends here of this class, so a lot of people respect you when it comes to racing here at this circuit. We talked a little bit about how you had a little bit of training on this circuit before we came here. I mean, what makes this track so unique?
You got to drive this track hard on the edge, brake deep. It's just a very aggressive racetrack, and if you're not willing to send it, you're not going to find speed.
Well, of course, congratulations on your victory. You're going to be here all weekend with this celebration. Good luck. That is Mike Rivera, your winner in the ROK KA Masters. Back over to you, Xander.
ROK and KZ Master overall winner. Mike Rivera, your winner here in that one. And look at this. Up front, still no change. Just a 4-car grouping starting to pull away. Henry Wheeler has started to fade, and Cooper Eau Claire not exactly locked to the rear bumper, as we can see here for Anthony Rivera, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, the top 3 right now working together really well and starting to pull away from Cooper Eau Claire. At first, I was starting to question Oliver Piatek's strategy there. I mean, after that super start to not want to go to P1, I was a little confused, but it's actually seeming to work in his favor as the top 3 are starting to really pull away. But Cooper Eau Claire has now made it a 4-kart train once again as the 866 is now out of this race. That, I believe, is going to be Isabella Simpson. So she is now out of this race, unfortunately for her.
Black flag coming out for someone else when they cross the line. Here's a look a little further back down the order. This is to Austin Olds' group, edge of the top 10 with Cole Wilson and Wesley Gunler involved. And I believe maybe Liam Kerper as well. Olds getting up to the 8th position, rebounding from a bad start. They're trying to catch up further. Runs a little wide. 3 wide here, back for 8th. Liam Kerper looking to get through. Wesley Gunler trying to as well. Gunler gets by. Kerper does not. And so move Wesley Gunler up a position as a whole. We are getting set for more action with the Pro Stars to come while the KA Juniors continue to head on the racetrack here. Josh Conker, who has been up and down, but as a whole up this weekend on the brand new Maranello go-kart, is with Taylor.
Here with Josh Conker, you're going to be starting inside the top 5 for today's action for the finals. Josh, what do you need to do to try to get around Calvin Ming for this win today?
I need to get off the line really well. That's kind of the main thing here. If I can get off the line good and beat him off the jump, I have the pace to hold him back. We saw there in the second heat that, I was a good bit back and I ran both of them down. So I definitely know that I have the pace to win this. It's just, if I can get off the line good. If not, I got to capitalize on the mistakes. They're still making a lot of mistakes out there. So if I can pick my spot right, I should have this one.
Now, of course, one of your tuners that you had, Mike Rivera, also just went out there and won in this previous race here. How did that momentum help you out, realizing, hey, he's been able to help me tune this car up even a little bit more so to go out there and win this race? Are you able to make sure you can capitalize on those mistakes from we saw earlier and run down and try to keep up with Calvin?
Yeah, for sure. Mike's, Mike's under the Carblos Racing Engines tent that we have going on down there. So good to see Mike get a win. Definitely a good bounce back after his pre-final because he had a rough start in the pre-final. But yeah, just carrying the momentum off Mike and taking it, just going out there and doing what we've done best all weekend.
All right. Well, good luck to you out there, Josh. We'll see you out there on the track here in a little bit.
Thank you.
Back over to you, Xander.
Thank you, Taylor. And while we were listening to that interview, things have definitely shaken up, Alex. Obviously, Oliver Piatek having an issue here. Looked like a blown chain in this back section, popping the curb a little bit too much.
Yeah, hard break for Piatek after that super start up to second, but now he's out of this race. You could see the frustration that Piatek was showing. We want to see another chain being lost this weekend. I mean, it seems to be the common thing that happens to these go-karts on this very rough and abrasive racetrack.
Well, the biggest thing, again, the curbs are relatively wide here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. So you're not just clipping them with the tire, you're clipping it with half the go-kart. And depending on which side you end up pounding it with, you're either going to angle a go-kart at an upward angle with the left side up, put the gear down into the racetrack, or vice versa. You'll put the right side up, but then that gear could scrape across the top of the curbing. So unfortunate for Piatek, and it's also kind of triggered a group that wanted to battle, didn't want to battle, to battle. Cooper O'Clair from 4th all the way up to the lead, and Max Taylor back to 2nd, Anthony Rivera back to 3rd, and Cooper O'Clair haven't gotten to the lead. He owns the fastest lap honors. He started to help him and Max Taylor drop Anthony Rivera back a little bit. Just past the halfway marker here in KA Junior, and Cooper O'Clair and Max Taylor are looking to make this one potentially a 2-horse race.
Yeah, looking a little further back in 4th, Ben Hernandez. He's someone who really is loving the racing up front because if they keep battling, he's already up 9 positions and by himself ran faster laps than Max Taylor and Rivera last time by. So he is flying right now but has no help really.
Yeah, you talked to Ben Hernandez here after that crazy pre-final he had going all the way up into the top 5, then crashing, going back down to 13th. Like you said, up 9 spots by himself, one of the fastest drivers in the field. As we watch the fight back just behind Ben, and Henry Wheeler is led here by Austin Olds in 7th. Wesley Gunler 8th, Liam Kerper in 9th. They're trying to hunt down Aiden Patty in that BJR Lando Norris kart in 6th. For Ben Hernandez, across the line that time by a 108.98. He's 0.3 better than the leaders. So Ben Hernandez, the driver on the move, and he's closing the gap up. He's last time by 1.7 seconds back from the lead, or from the next driver being Anthony Rivera. And with Rivera dropping back, that'll kind of act as a bridge, giving him a bit more toe earlier on than where you would expect to get it, although Max Taylor has fallen back, and that's kind of brought Rivera back up to the bumper once again.
Yeah, like you said, Rivera falling back, but obviously Max Taylor now falling back a little too. What that does is give Ben Hernandez not only a little bit of a toe, but also a rabbit to chase as we look at Ben Hernandez, and actually Henry Wheeler is pushing him along. So that's a 2-kart train right now that is running quicker lap times than your leaders. So this might get interesting. We might have a 5-kart train coming up soon.
Yeah, definitely could be. Here's another 5-car train behind them. So there goes Ben Hernandez and Henry Wheeler getting some help. Unfortunately, they only gained 1/10 of a second last time by. At least they did gain some time. Rivera going purple at a 108.71, closing the gap back to Max Taylor. So they are closing into the leaders just ever so slightly. They do need more shuffling to get there, but that could come. Cooper Auclair, not the quickest driver out of the top three. That honor again goes to the Kart Republic of Anthony Rivera. Max Taylor kind of sandwiched in the middle of the two of them as they head towards the back sector of the racetrack here. All three together. Auclair, Taylor, Rivera, no change. 5 minutes to go, plus 2 laps here in the main.
Yeah, back on board here, Cooper Auclair, Max Taylor, and Rivera working really well together. They've actually closed that gap up to Cooper Auclair. Like you said last time by, the Rivera was actually 7/10 faster than Max Taylor. Obviously had the benefit of the toe, but now when they're all just a little bit separated, we're going to see who's the quickest of the three guys right now, because Cooper Auclair seems to have a lot of pace in that technical side of the racetrack, but obviously the toe right now is going to keep them all in play.
Definitely good here. 4.5 minutes to go in KA100 Junior's main event. Cooper Auclair still your leader. And look at this. Oh, man. Henry Wheeler hit the water in turn number 2. We're just a little late getting to that shot, but Henry Wheeler topped the water in turn number 1. Got sideways, give Ben Hernandez back that spot for 4th, and that battle ultimately cost them some time. It cost Henry Wheeler a lot of time with that costly mistake now, and so moved Ben Hernandez safely into 4th. Wheeler's got to worry about his teammate Austin Olds hunting him down. He's gotten by Aiden Patty, and they are closing up there. That group 6th on to 10th are now going to catch up to 5th and make it a battle to get into the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, before that mistake from Wheeler, Wheeler had actually gotten around Ben Hernandez, but because of that battling, they lost 6/10 to the leader. I don't know why they decided to battle when they were actually catching them. So now, all alone, Ben Hernandez in 4th place. I don't know if he's going to be able to close that gap now.
Yeah, hard to say here if Ben Hernandez will arrive on the scene, especially if they don't pass anymore for the lead. I mean, right now they are single file up front. No change at all. There's Hernandez by himself. There's Wheeler's group with Austin Olds locking on behind him. Aiden Patty and Wesley Gundler, Liam Kerper all together. Cole Wilson at the end of the train in the 812. Still no passing there. Kerper looking a little bit low on Gundler, but I think that's more just kind of a different line going into 3, not trying to make the move for the spot. So Austin Olds giving a little bit of a shove back to his teammate and Henry Wheeler, gets him kind of picked back up off the ground and going once again as he leads the grouping down the hill out of turn number 6. Up ahead of him, give you an update on lap times there. The leaders all pulled out half a second on Ben Hernandez that time by. And granted, Hernandez had to avoid the sideways Henry Wheeler, but with the change in position for the lead, this time they'll give up a little bit, maybe not a whole lot. Cooper Auclair back to 2nd. It's Max Taylor out front once again.
Yeah, I was about to mention, a great amount of patience being shown from Max Taylor and Rivera, but Max Taylor changed the narrative. He's now in P1. He feels really comfortable out there. Obviously, we've seen him went with the pace in the heats and pre-final to win the races. So obviously he likes being out front. And now Cooper Auclair trying to push Taylor away from Rivera.
So there they go down to turns 1 and 2. Max Taylor, Cooper Auclair, Anthony Rivera, 1, 2, and 3. Into turn number 3, no move made there. Not going to make one into 4 either. I'm not sure when Cooper Auclair will want to go back to the point. At this point, he can ride here, and we've seen so many drivers want to wait till that last lap for that last run on the back straightaway to slipstream on by for the lead and the win. Kai Mars almost made it stick had he not left the door open going back into the next kink right after that. But for many, that move has been a solid one to pull away or to pull the lead away from the other driver leading the race into the white flag section. Here's that group once again back behind, and Henry Wheeler's been shuffled back by Austin Olds. He drops into the 7th position. Olds up into the top 5. Aiden Patty up into 6th, and just behind Henry Wheeler now appears to maybe Cole Wilson, having gotten by Wesley Gundler in the Tony Kart. So Gundler's OTK back down to 9th. Meanwhile, Ben Hernandez still just enough up the road. They can't catch him yet. They're gaining a little bit. They need a little bit more, I think, to get there before the checkered flag. With 1 minute and 2 laps left, this is basically 3 laps to go. A 1.3 second gap back to Austin Olds in the top 5, and around goes Liam Kerper in turn 2. Kerper spinning on the outside edge of the racetrack. There goes Antonino. He'll take that spot. 19 spots gained for John Antonino. He cracks the top 10.
Yeah, good run there from Jonathan. I was about to actually mention Liam Kerper, who was up 5 spots, and he was in the top 10 until that mistake, but now move Antonino into the top 10, like you said, up 19 positions. Back up front, though, Max Taylor and Cooper Auclair pulled about a half-second lead over Rivera. So, yeah, look at that. Cooper Auclair comfortable just pushing Max Taylor away from Rivera. He wants to make it a 2-kart race when it comes to that final lap.
Out of the back left hairpin here, Cooper Auclair, half a car length away from Max Taylor. They go towards the chicane, bop over the curbs there. Double sticks in the air this time. 2 to go, and a 2-driver fight has formed for the lead. Anthony Rivera in the catbird seat, 0.7 of a second back as they hit the dog leg to start the final 2 circuits around in KA Junior. Max Taylor looks back, takes the normal line to 1 and 2. Not going to block the bottom side there. Let's see what time of line he takes to 3. I think he's got a comfortable gap. He'll go about normal racetrack, normal line for Max Taylor. Not worried yet from Cooper Auclair to challenge for that top spot.
Yeah, I think Cooper Auclair has earned Max Taylor's trust there. Obviously, he's trying to push Max Taylor away, and Max Taylor knows that, but Cooper Auclair down the inside, and he's going to take the spot. A little bit of bumping there, but it's all clean racing. Good move, aggressive move there from Cooper Auclair. That's going to actually bring Anthony Rivera right back into play. Taylor's going to try the outside, not going to make it work there. Move Cooper Auclair to the lead of the race.
And to me, Alex, I'm not sure where you might want to be on a racetrack like this, watching as many races we have this weekend. If I'm Max Taylor, I'm getting around and back as soon as possible and blocking instantly because it's so tricky, and I think it's pretty easy to block the second half of the lap here. And we'll see that now as Auclair starts to open up the margin. I would have tried to maybe do a dive bomb if I could set it up for it in that back right hairpin. Now he's 2 cars back. He'll get a big run on this front stretch, but he needs to capitalize on it sooner rather than later. He's got to get around him early in this lap. That's where most of the passing zones are as the white flag waves.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. Obviously, the second half of the racetrack is really tough to pass on how technical it is. Taylor gets a good run out of 1. Cooper Auclair's going to have to go defensive, and he does. Rivera's going to do the normal line. He's going to get a really good run through here, but obviously with the switchback, it's really hard to make a move. Taylor all over the bumper of Cooper Auclair, but Auclair again can go defensive right here.
Yeah, he'll go low into the red 171 hairpin. That really only leaves kind of 2 more passing zones outside of a really awkward race. And that's this straightaway right here, and then the hairpin following. Taylor's got help, though. Rivera gives him a little shot. Max Taylor gets through to the lead. Now, does he get crossed up? He does. Auclair side by side for the lead. They're going to run wide. Taylor hangs tough on the outside and gets back through. Now Auclair tries the crossover move, gets tripped up as Taylor holds it blocking low on the crossover move. That was textbook right there. Park it on the apex, make them hit you from behind, then hit the gas and get away. Through the chicane. Final time through. Cooper Auclair needs a Hail Mary. Max Taylor took advantage of the draft on the backstretch. Got through. Auclair's trying to get by in the dogleg. Not enough. Max Taylor wins in KA Junior.
Wow, what a race from Max Taylor. Like you said, textbook defensive driving from Max Taylor. Park it on the apex, hold the bottom, make the guy behind you bump you. Perfect, relentless defense from Max Taylor, and it's going to benefit him, and he's going to take the victory here in KA Junior.
Cooper Auclair gets credited with second. Anthony Rivera third. Ben Hernandez 9 spots gained to fourth. Austin Olds fifth. Cole Wilson sixth. Wheeler drops to seventh at the end. Wesley Gunler eighth. Aiden Patty ninth, and again 19 spots gained for John Antonino Jr. from dead last on the grid to the top 10. A great drive for the Race Factory pilot for sure.
Yeah, good run there from John Antonino. He was running really quick lap times actually at the end there. Just didn't have enough to catch the guys in 9th through 6th. But again, good run from Max Taylor. Ben Hernandez gained a second because of the battling there from the leaders, but could not get up to the podium spots. But again, Ben Hernandez showing the pace that he had at this racetrack, up 9 spots to finish 4th.
Well, now it's time for the big boys and girls here. The main stage has been set for the Pro Stars, the final group to go out here in New Jersey and to close out the on-track action for the Lightning and Thunder event of the Stars Championship Series. We are going to be coming right back with Calvin Ming, Josh Conker, and the Pro Stars field here live from New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Looking for a top-level team environment that fits your budget? Look no further than AMAX Racing. We cater to customers around the country who want driver coaching, tuning assistance, hospitality, track support, and a family race environment. Our race schedule has support available at all levels, from club and regional series across the Midwest to top-tier events such as the TKNA Grand Nationals, the U.S. Pro Kart Series, and the Scooter Pro Tour. Whatever level you may be at or want to get to, AMAX Racing can get you there.
I'm Billy Vincent, owner of MPG Motorsports. What we do at MPG is we try to keep it a nice, fun family atmosphere, try to combine sort of the bigger things and of the bigger teams and the professionalism down with sort of some of the fun sort of family-oriented atmosphere. We try to not only develop drivers, but also the parents and the families for just in knowledge in general in motorsports. It all starts in karting. What we try to do is try to help the drivers, the moms, the dads understand the sport of motorsports in general, not just karting, but what it takes to get all the way up through. Whether you end up wanting to be a driver or a mechanic or an engineer, you know, we can help you with that, and that's what we're here for. If you're interested in joining us at MPG, our home base is at Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and you can contact us at info@willpowerkart.com. And one of our great people will reach out to you, and we'll try to put the best program together.
Odenthal Racing Products, your #1 producer in engine mounts since 1992, along with our leading-edge designs and product development, such as the Odenthal Racing Products EasyGP camera mount, which comes in 4 different styles and can be used on any karting platform. To see our products online, go to odenthalracing.com. Welcome back here to New Jersey Motorsports Park. The Pro Stars have made their way onto the circuit here, and we are ready for gearbox action. The top class, the fastest class on the Stars Championship Series structure. And let's take you through how they're going to line up for today's main event. Magic Kart USA has been pretty happy with Calvin Ming's performance so far this weekend. Heat race winner, pre-final winner,
he starts on the pole here for the main event. He's trying to catapult himself into the championship conversation after rounds 1 and 2 were taken by Vincenzo Saracino and then Talon Yockel, who entered this event 15 points apart. Josh Conker rolls off second. He's in the subcategory ROK class, scored as well in the overall pro division, and with a slightly underpowered motor has been doing a great job all weekend. We heard from him there during that KA Junior main event. He said as long as he can get the whole shot, he thinks like he's got the speed not just to hang with him, but to pull away. It's just tough for him with the power band that he's got to make moves on the KZ-powered drivers. Vincenzo Saracino's VTM Racing Engines chassis is going to get set to line up on the inside of row number 2 alongside Robbie Bajoso. Row 3 will be Talon Yockel and Blake Hunt. Row 4, Annie Rule and Ian Quinn. Row 5, Robbie Campbell and Eric Hugh, then Brendan Mielke. And I believe Robbie Bajoso, who had been running this weekend for seat time, opted out of the main event here today. So with that, that'll leave an open spot on the grid. We go to the light system for the final time this weekend. The Stars Championship Series Pro Stars are ready into the boxes, revved up and set for action here in New Jersey, and we're away. Who gets the jump? Look at Saracino, 3 wide, trying to get the lead to turn 1. Conker hits the water. He's off on the wayside, hits the lower gear to get back going. Josh Conker went for it, ultimately didn't pay off, and now Vincenzo Saracino, the championship leader, takes the field through 3. He hits the water, and around he goes. Saracino's around, out of the lead, and I believe one more.
That was Talon Yockel.
Talon Yockel also. Wow. Calvin Ming is your leader once again, and the 2 drivers involved in the championship fight spin on the opening lap.
Wow, the championship is now blown wide open. This gives Calvin Ming a great chance to come back in the championship. Yeah, I was about to say, Saracino and Yockel got an amazing start. First and second from, I believe, they were 5th and 3rd on the grid. So I don't know what happened at the start there. Conker got the whole shot actually, but hit the water, braked a little too late, and ended up really wide. So now it's Calvin Ming and Annie Rule 1st and 2nd.
So move Annie Rule way up there. What a great start for Annie Rule as she split Conker and her teammate in Calvin Ming looking for a podium finish. She won the very first heat race of the season back at Newcastle. Since then has been looking for that same level of pace. As Conker pulls up to the rear bumper though, he's going to have a good shot at her. Maybe turn 3. Here comes the Marinello. Not enough this time. Rule hangs on.
Yeah, Conker trying to make up for that mistake that he made, just running a little bit wide, ran in the water, already back in the bumper of Annie Rule. Like you said, though, we heard in the interview, Conker feels like he has the pace to kind of walk away from Calvin Ming if he can get to him, pass him. But like catching's one thing, passing's another, and obviously with a little bit of a slower motor, it's going to be hard for him to pass Calvin Ming.
Yeah, it's already hard enough there. You saw him pull out a line on Annie Rule, then kind of tuck back in line as she was able to hit that last little bit of juice that the KZ drivers have. Look at him diving down the inside, though. In the right-handed hairpin, he gets through. So Josh Conker up to 2nd, and he's signals to Annie Rule to follow him. Look at Ian Quinn with a good run going here. He got his first career Pro Stars podium back at GoPro Motorplex, running back and forth, getting ready to battle with Rule there for the 3rd position. Talon Yockel will give you an update on where he went off at. He's not nearly as far back as Vincenzo Saracino, only about 5 seconds back from the leaders here. So 2 laps complete as they all rocket down to turns 1 and 2, and the times will populate the ticker on the left-hand side of your screen. Calvin Ming, of course, leading the way. Conker 2nd, Rule 3rd, Quinn 4th, Eric Hugh is 5th, Robbie Campbell is 6th, Talon Yockel is 7th. Vincenzo Saracino pulled into the scale line. That'll open the door for a lot of points to be grabbed by Talon Yockel and, of course, Calvin Ming, who is trying to pull away out front.
Yeah, Saracino, he didn't pull in. He's just so far back now with that spin that he's 20 seconds off your leader. So he's still on the track. So obviously if something happens to Yockel, then the championship is still fine. But obviously with them being in 7th and 9th, this leaves the championship wide open for guys like Calvin Ming.
It absolutely does. Calvin Ming here, 8/10 up on Josh Conker. Last time by the start-finish line stripe, so we'll pick them up when they come around the dog leg here. 13 minutes left to go, plus 2 laps, 3 minutes a lap so far in the Pro Stars main event. Look at that, Conker's closing up here. Calvin Ming, 3 to 4 car lengths up on Josh Conker, headed to turns 1 and 2. Annie Rule, Ian Quinn there, 2nd or 3rd and 4th, a car length apiece apart. And you're right there, of course, Vincenzo Saracino still going, just way back from the field. Talon Yockel, on the other hand, he's closing up on Robbie Campbell. So that could be a nice little fight beginning to form for 6th on the racetrack as he tries to work his way back forward.
Yeah, Vincenzo Saracino actually goes purple at a 1:020. Clearly, his kart is absolutely flying right now. It's unfortunate for him with that mistake because he's 20 seconds back, but it would be great to see him up front because obviously he had the pace to try to win this thing.
Talon Yockel now looking down the inside, I believe, on Robbie Campbell, trying to get by for that position. We'll pick them up here. Looks like that's one small little hiccup with our camera on the far section that we're getting sorted as soon as possible. Calvin Ming continues to lead the way here. Josh Conker second, Annie Rule third, Ian Quinn fourth, Eric Hugh fifth, and Robbie Campbell just surrendering, I believe, that sixth spot in the back to Talon Yockel. There goes your top four drivers. Big gap back to Eric Hugh, who will be under fire from Talon Yockel here shortly. Here they come onto the front straightaway. There goes Yockel. He's gotten by both of them. So move Yockel into fifth. So Talon Yockel up into P5, getting by Eric Hugh and Robbie Campbell.
Yeah, good driving there from Talon Yockel. He knows that Saraceno has a spin, so any position that Yockel can make up is actually just bonus for him, because obviously Saraceno being right now in last place, running the fast lap of the race once again, but obviously it's not going to really matter for him. He might be able to catch Brennan Milk, though, he's running about 4 seconds a lap faster than him, so he might be able to get 1, maybe 2 positions, but obviously Yockel knows that any position is important for the championship.
Definitely. So at least here again for these guys, the championship points could be sway a little bit for the top 4. The bad news for Saraceno staying on the racetrack at the pace that he's at, Milky, Campbell, and Hugh, they all should be reeled in, I think, before the end of this one by Vincenzo Saraceno. He's only about 6 seconds back from Brendan Milky, so that'll be another bit of points lopped off. You could pretty much chalk up, without any other mechanical failures or crashes, a 6th place result for Vincenzo Saraceno if he goes at the pace he's at. That means Calvin Ming, it'll be a 1st to 6th place point swing in the main, which is a pretty hefty swing, I believe, about 70 points. And look at this, problems already. That's the 223 of Eric Hughes, so that'll make things a little bit easier. He's going to restart himself, but he'll drop all the way to the tail end of the field. Give that some more points back to Saraceno. Move him back up into 8th.
Yeah, that's what Saraceno wants to see. Obviously, you don't want to see anybody off the track, but Saraceno needs every point he can get right now. As we see a little battle here for 3rd position, Ian Quinn has really caught up to Andy Rule now, making it a really good fight for this final podium position. Last time by, though, we're going to look at the leaders. Josh Conker was a 10th quicker than Calvin Ming, only 3/10 back. So let's see if he can actually get the move done, which he couldn't do in the pre-final.
Yeah, so here they go towards the back chicane. Annie Rule, Ian Quinn, 3rd and 4th, 2 to 3 car lengths apart. Calvin Ming over Josh Conker coming through the dog leg here. Little bit sideways for Ming down to turn number 1, but that gap is shrinking for the top 2. And as well, 3rd and 4th, still close also. Here comes to turn number 3. Ming by 3 car lengths. That time by gave up 1/10 of a second to Josh Conker on the Maranello. So Conker knows he's able to get by in one specific spot, and that's that right-handed hairpin where he was able to get by Annie Rule. Can he set that up again? Can he make the move? We're coming on the halfway marker here this time by in this main event for Pro Stars, and it's a head-to-head fight here. KZ versus ROK, Ming versus Conker, Magic Cart versus Maranello. Headed through the right-handed kink. This is where, again, Conker was able to pull that move off on Rule. He's not close enough to do it on Ming, but he gets a nice little bit of momentum going a little bit wider, and he pulls up to the third bumper as they go towards the back chicane.
Yeah, Conker all over the bumper of Calvin Ming. You know, like you said, he's able to stay with Ming on the bottom end of the motor, but right here, when we get to this long straightaway, that's where Ming's advantage with that KZ motor comes into play. You can see the gap extending over that ROK motor, but both of them sliding out of the final corner, giving it everything as they head toward turn 1.
Yeah, they were on the absolute edge again here, dropping that left rear tire off the edge of the racetrack. Nearly touching the dirt, just kissing it as they exit the final turn onto the front straightaway. Again, massive speeds for the KZ and ROK Stars drivers. You can see Ming even a little bit sideways through turn number 5. Pulls that lead up to 3 car lengths out of turn number 6. Where's our update on the fight for 3rd? Well, it's right here. Annie Rule, Ian Quinn. Still single file. Quinn is yet to get around Rule. These two both equally powered KZ power plants. Here comes Quinn looking for 3rd. Not close enough there at the end of the back straightaway for P3.
Yeah, Andy Rule shut the door on Ian Quinn. This is good, hard, clean racing for the final position on the podium. Andy Rule gets a little sideways, so does Ian Quinn. So still, Andy Rule retains that 3rd position, but Ian Quinn gets a better run out of that 180 hairpin, peeks to the inside of the fast chicane, and he's going to make it stick. Put Ian Quinn to 3rd now.
That'll change the podium. Ian Quinn looking for career podium number 2 in the Pro Stars class, but don't look now coming into frame. Talon Yockel's comeback drive is not yet over, as up front, Josh Conker, big run on Calvin Ming. Not close enough for anything in turn 3, but P3 on the racetrack is about to be hotly contested because Talon Yockel in 5th has reeled in Annie Rule and Ian Quinn.
Yeah, Talon Yockel, his comeback drive is definitely on right now. He might be on for a podium at the rate he's going. This is a good run from him. Talon Yockel to the inside of his teammate Andy Rule. Make that one stick and move Talon Yockel up to P4. And he's already going after Ian Quinn. He's got a really good run. He might be able to go and get 2 for 1 here. No, Ian Quinn shuts the door on him. And Talon Yockel in 4th, Ian Quinn 3rd still.
Almost for Talon Yockel as he gets himself one spot closer to back onto the box. Again, damage control for the 224. This is great for him. Not so great for Vincenzo Saraceno fans back home, but Talon Yockel trying to get the points lead. 3 car lengths back, 2 car lengths back from Ian Quinn as they go through the chicane.
Yeah, you say the points lead. I think going into the weekend, I think Yockel was about 15 points back from Saraceno, but right now, if he can finish 3rd and Saraceno down in 7th, that's going to be a huge point swing for Yockel, and that might catapult him to the lead of the points. We'll see.
Yeah, hard to tell. Obviously, Saraceno a little bit better through the heat races, through heat number 1, so that would go back in his way, but obviously the main event matters a little bit more. Calvin Ming and Josh Conker still have yet to change the lead. That's about a 10th to 2/10 between the pair. Look at Yockel, though, up the hill, turn 6, inside, wheel-to-wheel contact. It catches Quinn off guard. Talon Yockel gets through for P3. Ian Quinn goes back on the defensive as well as here comes Annie Rule looking for 4th.
Yeah, hard, aggressive racing for Yockel. I was surprised Yockel actually fought that hard because obviously thinking championship-wise, the last thing he needs is contact there because already him being a 3rd and Saraceno in 7th, he doesn't need to risk that much, but it ended up working in his favor, and now Andy Rule is trying to get after Ian Quinn.
Here they go towards the outer loop. Let's see if that battle opens up or comes back together, back for 4th as up front Calvin Ming continuing to lead the way over Josh Conker. Look at the margin all the way back till you see 3rd here. Here comes Talon Yockel, then Ian Quinn, then Annie Rule. So I think we're good. Subsided up here back for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The lead Calvin Ming has over Josh Conker is less than a cart length at most of these laps now. Conker just kind of stalking his prey, trying to measure him up to see where he can get around him. The Canadian versus the kid from Guyana. And South Florida-based driver in Calvin Ming headed down the back straightaway towards the back sector.
Yeah, Calvin Ming, again, you can just see him stretch his advantage every time they get to the straights. Obviously, that KZ motor is a little bit better than the ROK on the top end. Josh Conker, again, through this infield is really strong. He's going to have to probably just send one at some point if he wants a chance of this win.
So here they go, left, right, left chicane, Conker, big send there, closes up, really close here to start the lap. Look at that little bit of lunge there. That's Ming getting onto the power of the KZ. A car length back through the final corner, though. Conker's right there. Turn 2, does he send it? Not this time. And the waters also kind of narrowed that lineup a little bit through 1 and 2 because they're not going as open on the right-hand side with the puddle beginning to form, it looks like.
Wow, I thought Conker for 1 second thought about peeking the nose, and Calvin Ming thought better of it. Josh Conker right now feels really confident. He might throw one in right here. Does not. Calvin Ming on the defensive.
Yeah, I think Ming, when we talked to him in heat number 1, he said he feels really comfortable being out in the lead. So he's happy to get there. If he can get the start to get there, he feels like he's got the race pretty much under control. Not a lot of nerves for Calvin Ming. That's to be expected. We're talking a driver that's gone all the way up to the top levels of national and international kart racing, that has raced on the road to Indy as high as the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. So while he's not necessarily a gearbox driver by trade up until the last couple of seasons, the nerves of being in a high-pressure position at a top-level event, nothing new to Calvin Ming in the 207.
Yeah, it surely looks like it. I mean, Calvin Ming does not feel the pressure that Josh Conker is providing, which is just relentless pressure. Josh Conker at all times within a 1/10 of a second. It's really hasn't been over a cart length this last few laps for him.
Yeah, he's been just all looking every way, trying to force a mistake out of Calvin Ming, really. And he hasn't been able to get one exactly the way he wants it. Maybe a bobble that kind of backs him to the rear bumper, but nothing that opens the door for him to make a lunge at it. You can bet if Josh Conker sees an opportunity, he will take it, but it has not come to fruition just yet, unfortunately. So Conker closing in, 3 minutes to go here. The time is starting to run out for the Canadian to try and make a bid for the overall win. Again, he's got the Rockstars win all but locked up here. Blake Hunt was the other driver involved. He did not make it out for the main. Robbie Bajoso either. Brandon Melke way down the order in the 7th position or 8th position behind Robbie Campbell. Both of them in the 2nd and 3rd in the subcategory. So Conker on the ROK package, close enough. Maybe this time, Ming drops a tire off the edge. Conker looks, not brave enough, not really, again, open enough. Like I said, I think they're just too narrow now into 1 and 2 to get a move there. And then turn 3, he hasn't been able to get the exit he needs to get it, and Ming also there. Narrow through 4. Still gets a good enough exit, but he's able to defend here with 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go.
Yeah, obviously much easier to be defensive in a shifter car as Conker puts the bumper to the back of Ming. Ming holds on, though. Like I was saying, though, much easier to go defensive in a shifter car with so much power to just kind of bail you out of the corner. Ming can just afford to go defensive for most of the lap here as Conker puts it to the inside. Ming shuts the door really quickly.
You can see the impatience starting to come here as now Conker tries the inside on the hairpin. Can't get through it. Ming checks him up. Conker still got a nose down low. Conker to the lead. He this time makes the check up on the exit of the corner, and Calvin Ming drops to second. Josh Conker, with a minute and a half to go, is finally taking command of this Pro Stars main event.
Wow, what a move from Josh Conker. He played that perfectly. It was just crossover move after crossover move. Conker comes out on top. Let's see if Ming can respond now.
Yeah, so Calvin Ming enters this lap a couple car lengths away, a little bit sideways out of turn number 2, got to kind of calm the nerves again, and now he's got to treat this race completely differently. He wasn't, I don't think, focused on extracting every inch of pace out of the go-kart. He was maybe 80-70% mentally focused on that. The other 20 to 30 was making sure that door did not open for Josh Conker to get by. Now Conker's gotten through. He's got to go on to 110% level pace with a minute and 2 laps to go. We're going to see 3 to go this time by, I believe. Josh Conker leading his first laps on the weekend at the moments when it counts the most here into the right-handed hairpin.
Yeah, we're going to see the true pace of Josh Conker now. I mean, he said in the interview, if he can get around Ming, he can pull away. And right now, it looks like he's pulled about a 3 to 4 car length gap there. But obviously, this is where the KZ package comes into play. When we get to this long straightaway, so we're going to go through the chicane here. Calvin Ming's going to get a good exit, most likely. And now the KZ motor is going to come into play with that power.
Yeah, Josh Conker even tucking his head behind the wheel, trying to hang on, trying to minimize the damage that'll be done on this dog leg. He's able to pull about a 0.5 on Ming that time by. Now Ming a little bit smoother out of turn 2 this time. Closes the gap back up. 3 laps to go. Running low on time. Now, the cool part about the way the Stars Championship Series is, with the Track Light North America safety system on the front stretch, it has a timer. These drivers know how long is left in every single main event. They're watching that. So Josh Conker knew when he needed to get aggressive. Calvin Ming knows they are not getting any more laps besides the 2 bonus ones. So for both of them, headed over the hill, no change in position as of yet, but 2 laps to go for Josh Conker and Calvin Ming. Here's Talon Yockel back in third, a good ways back, but safely in no man's land onto the podium. Ian Quinn fourth, Annie Rule about a second away from him, maybe 2.5. Vincenzo Saracino a 2.5 quicker than 4th and 5th, but he's going to maybe get there at the drop of the checkered flag. It'll be tight for Saracino to arrive on the scene.
Yeah, Saracino, for sure. I most definitely believe that he's giving it everything he has because he's only about 3-4 seconds back from Andy Rule, running a 2.5 faster, coming to 2 to go. So we'll see if he can catch her because obviously every point's going to matter.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be digging everything he has to get there. When you're just a couple seconds away, you can start to see the gap visibly shrink. That's a little bit of extra motivation, of course, Alex, to dig a little more, find a little bit more, drive a little bit harder to get up there. Also, you can see a blur just ahead of your leaders. That's lap traffic in the form of, I believe, Eric Hughes. So Josh Conker needs to be careful about this one.
Yeah, for sure. Catching lap traffic. Let's see how Josh Conker can handle this. Calvin Ming's been close as he's been in the last 3 laps. And obviously coming into the straightaways here, this is where the KZ-powered motor is actually stronger than the ROK. So we'll see if Eric Hugh realizes that he's in the way. I think he does. He takes a look back. Let's see if he can get out of the way as quick as possible as he gets through the chicane. Josh Conker's held up just a little bit.
That's going to be awkward here. Conker goes around the outside. Ming goes on the outside. Ming's going to have a big run on him here. Final lap. White flag in the air. Calvin Ming nearly threw it away there. Got way wide out of the last turn, but he's a half car length back out of turn 2, and Conker knows it. He'll go to the bottom side to block to 3.
Yeah, Calvin Ming all over the bumper of Josh Conker as they head through these 2 switchback corners. Conker, this is where he's been really strong all weekend. He gets a bit of a gap here to Ming up the hill. A bit, he's got enough of a gap. He doesn't have to defend. Goes a little bit wide, but here's where the KZ motor comes into play. Let's see if Ming can get him down the straight.
One more bit of horsepower down that back straightaway. Josh Conker takes a look back, doesn't have to block. Goes to the left-right chicane. 2 car lengths apart. into the right-handed kink, now the right-handed hairpin. We're running out of passing opportunities for Ming. He's close to the bumper. Not close enough here on the final lap, though. Out of the last couple corners here, it's just this long outer loop. The chicane and then that dog leg onto the front straightaway. Conquer by 2 car lengths. What a masterfully crafted main event. The ROK Stars driver is going to win the overall for the first time in series history. Josh Conquer wins in Pro Stars in Jersey.
Wow, what a finish. Calvin Ming gave it everything he had there at the end. Looking a little further back, though, Talon Yako in third crossed the line. Ian Quinn will have to wait a little bit more to see if he finishes in fourth. Saraceno last time by was only a second and a half behind Andy Rule, so we'll see if he actually gets fifth, and he doesn't. 2/10 off of getting fifth place. So Andy Rule in fifth. Saraceno comeback drive to sixth place.
You talk about point standings here. This is a big-time point stay as well for Josh Conquer. That ROK Stars subcategory still plays in the Pro Stars division, and so it's a hefty ROK Stars Championship subcategory lead. But the overall win for the very first time, 3 main events, 3 different winners in the Pro Stars season. We're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, post-race interviews with the top contenders here in the championship. Josh Conquer, Calvin Ming, Talon Yockel, Ian Quinn, Eddie Rule, Vincenzo Saraceno in the field. We're going to talk to as many as we can before we sign off here for the day from New Jersey. Stick with us. Post-race interviews to come from Lightning and Thunder here for the Stars Championship Series.
Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex ROK engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jecco Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com. Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParalleLUSA.com. If you're looking for top-grade equipment, look no further than Rev Performance Materials, engine mounts, sprockets, and arcade chains. Available online now at RevPerformanceMaterials.com and through a dealer near you. The highest quality material, built to the highest quality standards. Rev Performance Materials.
Are you ready to meet your favorite new karting product? Meet the tunable karting axle from Taika Technologies. Our globally patented tuning inserts make it easy for users to adjust stiffness in just minutes, making it the perfect tool for drivers new to the sport or trying to make the most out of their setup. The best of the best choose Taika, so get over to TaikaTech.com and grab yours today.
Welcome back here live from New Jersey Motorsports Park. Post-race tech inspection and scaling slowly getting underway. We are slowly starting to catch up with some of our drivers here from the end of this one after what was an up and down day. One driver definitely had an up and down main event with Talon Yockel. He's caught up with Taylor Burris.
Talvin Yockel, a very chaotic race for you here in the finals at New Jersey. Walk us through what is that race that happened for you, as well as also coming back to come home with a strong finish result.
Well, off the start, I had a good reaction. I was behind Vincenzo, obviously at the front, excited. We go through turn 3, the right-hander. He hits a little spot of water, and it got caught with me. We both spin. He stalled, I guess. I kept it going, thankfully. And it was just a recovery drive at that point.
Of course, this will change the point standings quite a bit, of course, with Saraceno not finishing on the podium anywhere in the top 5. You, of course, coming out overall podium here today. How is this momentum going to help you when it comes to the final round with the championship?
I'm going to keep on riding on my high horse, hopefully get a few wins at Cincinnati, and just keep on practicing, get more pace behind me, make sure I'm more prepared.
Well, we wish you the best of luck at the next round at Cincinnati, and we're going to see a lot of exciting action. That's Talvin Yockel, who comes home P3 overall. We're looking forward to seeing what he can do at the next round. We'll go back over to Alexander as we talk a little bit more highlights for today's action.
Yeah, thank you for that, Taylor. I mean, heard from Talon there. Talon with a good comeback drive after that spin there with Vincenzo. Obviously kind of helped out his championship cause there, finishing P3, Vincenzo P7. So he actually benefited from that. Obviously not what he wanted to happen in that race after he had a really good chance at the win with the pace that he had, but still a good recovery to P3.
Yeah, one heck of a recovery for Talon Yockel here. The rest of the field we're continuing to grab for post-race interviews and talk to more of them. He said, man, as soon as he saw Vincenzo Saraceno hit the water, it was just, oh no, because he was going right in his tire tracks, following behind him. And that's one strategy, Alex, obviously, with your championship rival involved. Go exactly where he goes. And, you know, if he goes down, you go down with him. If he goes up, you go up. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, it didn't really work for both of them, but at least Yockel didn't stall it, so he's able to recover to P3. Vincenzo had to wait to refire his go-kart, and that's why he fell so far back. He almost recovered to P5, and it was still a really good recovery. It was consistently the fastest car on the racetrack, setting purple lap times every couple of laps. So really good, impressive drive from him, but unfortunately too far back to make anything with it.
Yeah, unfortunate to get just a P6 result for Vincenzo. But, hey, one fortunate day here for Josh Conker. He's caught up with Taylor Burris, some donuts, and one heck of a performance for the Canadian here in New Jersey. Taylor?
Well, Josh, you know, I always call some of the races when you compete online. Now it's a chance to really call some of the competing in the real world today. You come out on top with the win overall. Walk us through that amazing battle you had with Calvin Ming.
Yeah, the race didn't start off so well. I had like an okay start, but we were 3 wide into one. I caught some of the water going in and kind of overshot. So, you know, I had to battle back. Like I said before, you know, like I knew I had the pace. We were all super, super close, Vincenzo, Calvin, and I. So as long as I could put in the mistake-free laps and just get back to his bumper, I knew that eventually there was going to be a way that I was going to get around him. And, you know, eventually it took, you know, most of the race, but we put it through.
You certainly did. And, of course, with that amazing pass down to the inside through the 180 switchback, you just really were able to show a little bit of aggression, but also still some very clean racing between you and Calvin. I mean, what was it like racing with him all weekend long? You two setting definitely the highest pace of the field compared to everyone else.
Yeah, Calvin and I, we have a good respect for each other. I'm good friends with Jared, one of his best buddies from, you know, back home in Guyana. So we have a good working relationship. I know he's a very clean driver. I like to race as clean as possible, but for me to get around him there, I had to give him a little nudge just to cross him up so I could stay with him. And once I was able to stay with him, you know, we had a good side-by-side battle there through the switchbacks. And, you know, after that, it was kind of sealed.
We get ready for Cincinnati here for round out the championship. Do you have what it takes maybe to see if you can close a little bit closer on this championship run?
I do believe I closed Rock Stars today as a championship. So if that is true, then I will be running Pro Stars at Cincinnati. I can't thank Carlos Racing Engines enough for all the hard work he puts in. The Rock was mad fast this weekend, and I'm looking forward to Cincinnati, see what we can put together for KZ.
All right, we'll turn it back over to Xander. That is, of course, Josh Conker, your winner today here in the Rock Stars Pro Shifter Karts. Back over to you, Xander.
Man, what an awesome run there for Josh Conker, and I'm sure he'd love to get into that KZ package. Congratulations are in order for him. And, man, again, like he said, you know, a good relationship for himself, for Calvin Ming, and a lot of respect between both of them. That about wraps up our day, Alex, here. What a day here for action in New Jersey.
Yeah, really exciting stuff all across the board. I mean, really good racing. Obviously, like you said, Josh Conker would love to get into that KZ package because with how fast he is on that ROK package, obviously about a horsepower down from the KZ, it would be really cool to see what he can do at Cincinnati. Like Xander said, though, that's about going to wrap up the Kart Chaser broadcast here, I believe, from New Jersey Motorsport Park. Really good day and a lot of fun racing.
A great day for sure. We'll do one more little debrief here when we come back. We'll take one more commercial break. More to come from New Jersey Motorsports Park. Podiums are in order here locally, but that wraps up our post-race debrief here for the Pro Stars.
Looking for a top-level team environment that fits your budget? Look no further than AMAX Racing. We cater to customers around the country who want driver coaching, tuning assistance, hospitality, track support, and a family race environment. Our race schedule is support available at all levels, from club and regional series across the Midwest to top-tier events such as the TKNA Grand Nationals, the U.S. Pro Kart Series, and the Scooter Pro Tour. Whatever level you may be at or want to get to, AMAX Racing can get you there.
As the Western importer of the Praga and Formula K chassis brands, Leading Edge Motorsports is a high-performance kart shop and race team with a simple mission: teach others the joy of high-performance driving, supply our customers with the highest quality products and services, and most of all, win races. With our remarkable racing inventory, expert services, and top-ranked national-level team to back it up, we'll help to get your new kart racing package up and running fast. From arrive and drive service to kart preparation and driver coaching to the parts you need to get you back on the racetrack, Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer.
Kyle, start with a B-roll on track, then cut to us. Let us talk to B-roll. That's fine. You start with B-roll, then go to...
Well, that does it here from New Jersey Motorsports Park. Obviously, a wild day of racing, a wild weekend, one of the craziest weekends I think I have ever seen at a racetrack, period. Lightning delays, inclement weather, wet racing, dry racing. This weekend about had it all, boys.
It certainly did, Trevor or Xander. I have to say, this is going to be one exciting race. I have to say, it was one that we have to say, look back on and say, full of chaos, full of excitement, full of a little bit of drama for some of our classes here. It's just going to provide a great way and a segue as we wrap up the season in Cincinnati.
And tons of storylines out of this weekend. Obviously, most recently here with Pro Stars, Josh Conker announcing he'll be joining the KZ Stars Pro Stars division. So he'll be on level power. We talked about that through that entire broadcast, Alex. I'm sure he's looking forward to getting on the same playing field as Talon and Vincenzo and the rest of the pack.
Yeah, for sure. Exciting stuff for Josh. Obviously, Josh has shown a tremendous amount of pace on the ROK package. So the KZ package, if that extra horsepower is going to really come into play, he's going to be able to challenge the likes of Yockel and Terracino at a track maybe unknown to most guys in the Cincinnati.
And that's not even touching on the KA Stars field with the woes for Connor Ferris just down to the outside edge of the top 10. You have the likes of the Bailiff brothers that were also high in the championship coming into this weekend struggling. Chase Jones, solid weekend, podium result. That puts him in a really good spot going into Cincinnati. But again, the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, that is the home of the Trinity Karting Group. You have to imagine the Bailiff brothers, they'll be looking to defend home turf. And then for the rest of the racing here, 130 to 40 entries. Anything else that stood out to you here over the weekend, Taylor?
And I have to say, one of the things that really impressed me was some of the racing we saw in the 206s, as well as all the drivers who were able to manage their way through the torrential downpour and some of the issues that we had with some of the major puddles through some of those races. Very strong driving by a lot of these drivers, really showcasing their talent. And, of course, we're getting ready for a lot of things still to come, especially for some of the young guns working their way up. Racing in the rain is a great way to really showcase your talent, to show what you can do, especially when you move your way up through the rankings.
And this weekend was a perfect test with those 2 puddles down at the bottom of the hill. We talked to so many drivers about it. Alex, what about you? What else stood out here this weekend?
I got to say, besides the on-track stuff, the off-track, it took a toll on the guys. Obviously, we lost warm-up today, so guys went into the pre-final with an unknown. They didn't know how their car was going to handle. Obviously, with a little bit of a cooler morning, foggy morning, the track became damp, so obviously they had no clue how their car was going to handle, and it just takes a toll on you. Lightning delays, shorter races, so it was really tough for the drivers, and they handled it well.
They absolutely did here, for sure. With the fact of how limited the track time was here this weekend, to have the level playing fields that we had and as tight racing as we did at the front of the fields, all the more impressive and all the more kudos to the rest of our Stars Championship Series pilots. Over 130, nearly 140 competed here in New Jersey. Probably even more than that when we go to Cincinnati to wrap things up in a couple months' time in October. For the Kart Chaser crew, our Route 66 Sprint Series rolls on to Chicago, Illinois here in less than 7 days' time. Next weekend, we go live Saturday morning. Taylor Burris, Alexander Searle, myself, Xander Clemens, and the rest of the Kart Chaser team, the Stars team, and the NJMP track team, all thank you for tuning into this broadcast. We will see you guys next time.